Hotep family, you're tuning into the pro-black perspective on KWAZ radio. Uh, yeah, and so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get right into it. This is a special episode, all right? Special episode.
Welcome to the Pro-Black Perspective, where black problems are addressed with black solutions. Your host tonight is the author of the Pro-Black Compendium and Zuberi and the Maroons of Ma'at, the Pan-African Nationalist, Oni. Oni, what are we discussing tonight?
Hotep family, I know you're saying to yourself, wait, is that my favorite? Yes, it is. Let me see what the chat's like. Kofi says greetings. Kofi gonna call out my Jamaicanness, so I gotta just, show off the locks. All right, so fam, today is gonna be something special. We're gonna do. Kofi stay calling out my Jamaicanness. We're gonna do. We gonna look at Kaba in small. Basically, I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Are these your elders? And I said to myself, I'm gonna put on this camera because they're gonna say some stuff that I kind of wish I had one of them close-up cameras so I could be like, just like making a face. You probably can't tell because the resolution's garbage, but I'm gonna try to still make do with it. So this is a video that was streamed last week, and I might just like do something important like this. Basically, it was Happy Talks. Happy is not a bad Happy's nice. Happy's cool. Happy's a good thing. Like, I tell you that I got one of my favorite scholars. In fact, two of my favorite scholars in America. Like, I would say top three. Because, Asar Motep is top two. But, realistically, like, a lot of what I originally learned about African scholarship, a lot of it comes from Leonard Jeffries. So that's another one of my top three scholars in America. Other one, of course, is Adi Rafo, good brother. In fact, if y'all actually know, he actually says Nevolutionary and Pan-Africanist before I do. So make sure you guys check out that brother. But basically, the reason why I brought up Asar Motep because he's a part of this happy movement, I guess, and the happy film and so on and so forth. So make sure you guys check him out. But here's the issue. Here's the issue that happens in America. You might have good people. Like for instance, you see this video, it's like you got Biana Bello, great. Asar Motep, great. So on and so forth. But then you got people like James Smalls and Kaba, and you might be like, Oni, what you got against James Smalls and Kaba? I'm about to show y'all. It's like you don't have to hear from me. You don't have to hear from me. All right? I'm about to show y'all what they're saying. Okay? I'm about to show y'all what they are saying. And then you could judge for yourself. So we're probably just going to peep like 30 minutes to maybe 40 minutes. I kind of wanted to, I think I stuck around maybe for an hour because I was like, why they got this little boy here? Okay? So they, like, it's like, I don't even say that these is like scholars, but like, they legit have a little boy and they're engaging in a quote-unquote debate with a little boy, and it's embarrassing. So it's basically the Pan-Africanists versus the ABAs. And I said to myself, this got to be the enemies within. This got to be like, forget the, I might have showed y'all some, some little street fight or something. Forget that. You know what I mean? We're going to show you this embarrassing stuff. But let me see what the chat's like. Tanzan says, morning. I just watched two of Tanzan had she sent me some military stuff. I saw like two of them today. Pretty good stuff. I'm gonna check out them some more. But as soon as you bring out the guns, Tanzan gonna show up. All right, but anyway, yeah, let's do this right here. So we're gonna just jump into the action, and you could hear these people. And by the way, I'm gonna play this, but I'm gonna show you guys why. Like, this is even more irksome. This James Small thing is even more irksome. But we're going to do it.
Africans from Haiti, Africans from the continent, and of course, those people called Black Americans or African Americans. Not to mention, we had also a global African audience watching. Very powerful. So, family, we wanted to have this discussion, not to attack or further divide.
Yeah, so his audio was bad, and everybody was telling him mic check, audio connection, but he didn't see the comment, so just skip over it.
We want to address some of the issues that will lead to a pathway for healing, and with that, we brought together two of our greatest minds, Professor Kaba, the common name, and Professor James Small. We also have with us one of our young scholar warriors, Chase McGee, of Voice of the Ancestors. So with that, family, without any further ado, I'm going to bring on my guest, and we'll get the show started. Peace, Chase. How you doing, brother? See, you muted there.
Peace, brother Taki. How you doing? And peace to
I'm
the
all right,
elders,
all right.
Baba Kaba.
Yes. Peace, Professor Kaba. Peace, Professor James Small. How you brothers doing today?
Baba Small, you muted. Yeah, Baba Small, you muted.
Yes, sir. So I was saying peace to Baba Kaba and to Brother Chase and to Taki. And we talking about one Africa, power and unity. I mean, our theme says it all, and we don't need to back away from that theme.
Damn, family.
Yeah, Kofi pointed out correctly. This guy said that these were two of the greatest minds. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. Oh, hold on a second. I see like the chat is behind my my photo. Let me see if I could Y sort. They call it Y sorting. When you boom. All right. So what I was saying was, yeah, two of the greatest minds. By the way, I gotta like comment throughout just because, you know, blah blah blah. You know, you can't just like stream other people's shit. So, yeah. Oh, you see, I didn't realize you guys can see I dislike the video. You know what I'm saying? I usually don't recommend people disliking videos, but like, it looked like it don't even tally. But I was just like, the fuck is this, man? I don't even do that with stuff, and I was just, you know, I'm on like 4K doing that. But what was I saying? So, yeah, these are the two. And the thing is this, he's not even capping. These are some of the quote-unquote greatest minds in America. Is my volume low or is their volume low? KW Down 7 is saying that volume is low. Let me see something. Yeah, my volume good. It looks like it's their volume. But I don't know if I could do anything about that. All right, let me keep playing though.
So I see we got a lot of comments in here saying the audio is not good. So we're gonna do some mic checks, and maybe I will kind of repeat.
But you're better.
We're better now.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It was going in and out before.
But now you're
going in and out before.
Brother,
all right. So what we're gonna do? Say that again, Brother Kaba.
No, I was saying, you know, just as an introduction, you know, I pay tribute to you and to Sister Felicia for having this event, and to my elder brother, Professor James Smalls. I follow and just admire your work. To my brother Chase, you are the future, brother. And with all the different programs that we've done together, brother, this is the first time I have the honor that we're all together here doing this panel discussion. And I've just been looking for it. Just like the sister said, she's been looking for this all day. I've been looking for this ever since I found out we were all going to be together. So let's
absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into this discussion.
Wait, so is the video volume still low? Because I think that they were saying that this guy's volume was low in the video, and it sounded like they might have, you know, like it might have just been that. Like, I don't know if you're saying that they're also low or if he's low, but I could try to fiddle behind the scenes.
And first, we need to kind of set the record straight with some things. And please, if you're not hearing me, please let me know. First, we wanted to define what is a Pan-African and the origins of the movement. And we're going to start with Professor Smalls. Could you please start with that, brother, and let us know what that means?
Well, you know, sometimes we make simple things complex and then act foolish with it. The word pan, it simply means one. It means unity, to bring things that are pieces together, that are the same.
Okay, look, I might have turned up the volume. All right, so let me know if the volume is up.
Bring it together.
I mean, I can't hear it on my side, but I put it up 20%.
When we talk about Pan-Africanism, we are making a reference to the fact that Africans.
Oh, if it's too loud, by the way, let me know.
Wherever they are on the planet Earth, And if there's a few stepping off in these spaceships going up, that we're saying to one another, we want to unite as one. That's
This is D Webb with the Harsh Reality Podcast, asking you to tune in where we tackle the news of the day that affects our community, only on KWAZ Radio.
Greetings, everyone. This is Koku from the Bitter Medicine Podcast, inviting you to tune in to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
Greetings, fam. Tune in to The Learning Curve with me, the Revolutionary Matron on KWAZ Radio.
You are listening to the Pro-Black Perspective on KWAZ Radio.
All right, so I put up the volume 200%. That's why I wanted to ask. All right.
That's what Pan-Africanism was about. The conferences that was held by our brothers from the Caribbean and the boys and the others at the turn of the 19th or the 20th century, they were trying to look at a situation around the African world where we were colonized and still coming out of slavery by any other name. And they were trying to pull the African world together. So Pan-Africanism as a term was born, but Africans had been fighting around the question of their unity for centuries. I think you mentioned earlier, if we go back to the first invasion, when the Hyksos came in, we responded. When the Hittites came in, we responded from the south, from the west. We responded with our military, but we responded with our economics. We responded with our politics. When the Assyrians invaded us, when the Persians invaded us, when the Greeks, when the Romans, and then we got the mighty Islamic, Turkish, Arab invasion that lasted longer than any other. And we don't even talk about it as an invasion. But Africa's been trying to regroup from that, almost from the Turks, the Muslims came in the 8th century. They're still occupying significant parts of Africa ideologically, some of them militarily, certainly politically. And we're still fighting to exert ourselves as Africans under these other ethno-cultural identities and political identities that do not have our interests as a race of people at heart.
So you're gonna notice that he gonna talk. Like, here's the thing about, like, no disrespect to the dude, but I met him and the other dudes. I met a lot of these Americans in the movement. You know what I mean? And a lot of them, like you gotta realize about real life. Real life is this: you live in a place. You're a landless person who needs to eat every day. That's reality. You're a landless person who needs to eat every day. So there's a system in place that says, hey, you can eat in exchange for money, right? And the way that you get money, right, is your own business. Okay? Some people say to themselves, look, I can get money from these folk. You're going to watch the chat. Watch this chat. You're going to see money pouring in, right? And that's fine. Like I said, like, happy overall, the stream itself, the movie, this thing is a good enterprise for what it is, right? However, you got to realize that notwithstanding the fact that it's a collaboration or a cooperative effort, not everybody, I don't know this brother. I'm not gonna hold you. He seemed like a cool guy. In terms of, he actually highlights my comments when I get like disgusted by this shit. So I'm not even gonna be mad at this, right? Like, I was just like, the fuck is this? But who the freak are these people? And like, this is a literal boy. Like, this guy, like I said, when I was younger, like I was in my 20s, this guy was like speaking. This guy, I've actually, I heard about this dude. I mean, I saw this dude. This dude's been active, right? This is a whole little boy. A whole little boy.
Economically, politically, or culturally. And so I respond in the contemporary world today is that we are one African peoples, no matter where we were born, no matter when we were born there, no matter how brown our skin is. Brown ain't nothing but shades of black, and And so we need to wake up, because we are the only racial and ethnic nations. See, ethnic nations make up the racial nation that ask the question of who we are. The Chinese don't ask that question. Asians don't ask that question. They know they're Asians. Why? There's some reasons, and many of it is cultural and spiritual. If you don't get your cultural and spiritual hookups, you'll be confused about identity. So I understand, given the warfare waged against us, especially in the Western Hemisphere, particularly in the United States, the kind of mind control, brainwashing, and psychological warfare, I understand the confusion. But our jobs are to tell our people, look in the mirror and really believe what you see. You know, start there. But deal with basic definition. Pan means to unite, means to be one. We've been talking about that since we began this happy concept, going back years now. I understand, I want to make it clear. I understand, because if you listen to my speeches 20 years ago, I've been trying to say
Look at this. This dude's about to try to claim ADOS.
The African American is an ethnic nation.
And you're going to see, like, these people, I'm going to show you this something. They're like they're like entertainers. You got to realize they're entertainers. So they got to read the audience. When I start pushing back against them, right, against this ADOS shit, watch them switched up. So right now you see he's all blah, 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 blah. Then he's like, you know, I'm actually for the, you know, ADOS kind of thing. But watch later, he's going to be like, yeah, that ADOS shit. These are entertainers. You got to, like, if you knew, like, I knew these people. Okay? I knew, like, I sat, you know, got the entertainment and, you know, all that. But, you know,
but an ethnic nation of the African race family, not an ethnic nation in opposition to our mothers and our fathers. All right? And our genesis and our culture and our spirituality.
Okay? I knew, like,
so I understand the hurt and the pain that some people have gone through under colonialism in America and slavery in America and neocolonialism. But one of those pains that you must conquer is the one that don't allow you to see your mother.
Damn it, yo. So I'm seeing a lot of people saying that the audio is off. What is going on? How is it that the audio is, like, what can I possibly do? Look, the volume's at max. How do you, shit. And ain't no way for me to download it neither. Damn, that's like the whole concept was to share this. Hold on a second.
Father Africa as your mother and father. They gave birth to you. That means you are they, and they are you. The Yoruba's got a word for that. It's called Lukomi. It means I belong to you, and you belong to me. And no matter where we are in the world, we'll recognize each other in that way. And that's what Pan-Africanism is about. The Pan-African movement was about. Wherever we are in the world as Africans, we're going to find a way to unite ourselves for the sake of making us free in those places and on the continent of Africa itself. Peace.
Thank you for that, Professor Smalls. Professor Kaba, would you like to add on to that? Find the origins of Pan-Africanism?
Well, what our brother Professor Smalls has said, I could not say better. But there are certain concepts that I would like to complement what he's already said. And that is, as a teacher, I look at things from the many different subjects we teach in school. So when you look at it from a linguistic perspective, language arts, the word pan is described as all. And whether you have a Pan-American or a Pan-African, the concept of Pan-African means all Africans, period. Now, I just had a phenomenal conversation with my brother Baaba Heru, and he has introduced the concept to looking at the word Pan-African, of course, we know is coming out of the European concept of an African thought. But if we look at the word Neb or Nebu, Afrika, A-F-R-A-K-A, you can translate and transliterate it the same way.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave my mic
Neb
on.
or Nebu means all, but all just beyond just people. All is a cosmic reality. Af is the concept of flesh, the very flesh that binds the spirit. Ra is the light and heat energy,
Here's what I'm going to do.
sun, and Ka is the spirit. And so Neb or Nebu Afrika, the concept of the binding of the light and heat energy of the sun for all people. There is only one race on our planet, and that race was conceived, born, nurtured, sustained.
All right, so you guys heard him. He said there's only one race on the planet. I don't know what to do. I guess the echo thing probably wasn't be a good idea either. I don't know what to do about that, but you hear this right here. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's only one race on the human planet. There's only one race on the planet. And of course, he's an entertainer. This is an entertainer. He's going to back up what this guy's saying.
Educated, civilized, and technologized in Africa. And as Dr. John Henry Clark tells us, after Africans got their show together, then they took it on the road and peopled the planet. This one people, the Twa Mbuti, Khoisan, the original African family, peopled the world over 100,000 years ago. And they brought with them a civilization, a technology. It's bound in the Asarian drama. When Asar travels around the world to bring civilization to other parts of the world. That's in our story. And out of this concept of traveling around the world, because of climatology and biology, because of either the closeness or the furtherance of our bodies away from the sun, to bring civilization, we had to adapt to the new surroundings. And a group of us traveled beyond the 51st parallel north. And because of an ice age and biology upon them that they were not expecting during the worm glaciation, the closeness or they then had to adapt to the area. And in this area, in order to survive the lack of the sun, the lack of the light, heat, and sound energy that bound their bodies, these Africans had to depigment themselves. The scientific laws is Glosier's law, Allen's law, and Bergman's law. One deals with your pigmentation, Glosier's law. One deals with your body structure or morphology, Allen's law, and the other deals with your limb, the way in which your limbs are structured. And in the cold climate, these Africans had to depigment themselves. And out of that concept, they became an ethnic stock.
Okay, you see right here in the Cash App. So like, I don't know. I don't know what they're saying right now. I mean, I know some of y'all was like, volume's low. You kind of tuned out. I'm listening right now actively. I don't even know what he's talking about. Cash App's rolling in though. Right here, Cash App Love, $7. Right here, $10 on the super chat. What's he talking about? And this is like, at this point, it's like 300 people listening.
There is no white race. There is no yellow race.
There is no white race. There's no yellow race.
Asians and Europeans are ethnic stocks that came out of the original race that, because of the nature of their presence away from the sun, they changed. So in a sense,
I want you to realize, like, I don't know what they're talking about. I don't even know what they're talking about. But the comments are like, yo, such a divine quadrant panel of brilliant minds. I'm happy to be a witness to too many of our greatest teachers. You know? Many of us have a hard time identifying with the word black. One of their regions lies in the Western dictionary. Why describe Western reality of things? You know, which is probably a good thing. I don't know. This is a good conversation to have on the last day of National Black Family Month. Thanks. These are black people. These are, you know, right? Influencing black people. And they're telling you, hey, you know what? There's no singers.
Hence, as Professor Smalls was saying, they throw these terms out and people begin to hold on to them and don't realize. Dr. Clark told us, Pan-African or perish. No one African group, wherever we find ourselves, is going to get out of this alone.
And so look, when I say Pan-Africanism, part of me is like, you know, they're just fans of the Pan-Africanists in a sense. So you're going to hear them oftentimes, and not to say I don't quote our elders, not to say I don't do that, but you're going to hear these are quote-unquote elders, stay quoting elders. Okay? Stay quoting elders. Just to like, it's called an appeal to authority. And it's like, you know, it's not like out of like reasoning or rationale. It's just like, here's a little snippet. This is what you want to hear. This is what you came for. You understand? So yeah. Like I said, though, I don't know what they're talking about. I'm not going to hold you guys. I was just like shocked. Cause see, my thing is this, you know, y'all fam, this video come to y'all going to be like, the fuck is this, right? You know, like I'm sitting there like flabbergasted because I'm thinking to myself, these are the people going to get chased out. Like they're going to chase out the community. These are people getting monetarily rewarded for this. I'm telling you, when I talk about what the enemies within are. When I talk about what the enemies within are. Oh, I'm looking at this book I bought in Ghana. This was only 40 CDs, matter of fact. Look at this. African Visionaries. See, this is 40 CD. And it's just like written, it's like in Ghana, they were just like a multifaceted book about special people of Africa seen through African eyes. Pretty cool. Over 40 portraits, and you got Sankara and Lumumba on the back. You got Nkrumah and a handful of other people in the front. There's a bunch of essays on them. So, you know, what I'm saying is that, like, that's, I don't know what this is. You know, I don't know what this is, but that, like, this is...
Together. Make no mistake, I understand some of the insults and disrespect that has...
One race, the human race. This is the same person. Baba Kaba, speaking the truth. Bill on the African oneness. I don't know if the comments are on the way, so let me just check. Yeah, our comments are on the way to their comments. So let me see if I could... I'm going to just switch it over for today, just for the heck of it. But yeah.
Been put upon us as foundational Black Americans. I understand that.
You heard him say foundational Black Americans. And here's the thing, too. Both of these dudes are going to claim Indian heritage. Both of them are going to claim Indian heritage. This guy is like, I was reluctant to say my Indian heritage because I was getting pushback back in the day. Yeah, of course he was getting pushback back in the day. Like, that's what's supposed to happen.
But to those people, I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to the many folk that I have met around my experiences, the global African community who have embraced us, respected us, and understood the importance of the work that we're doing. And so we've got to move forward and look at this from the type of perspective that we can back up what we say and not get emotional. Science, not emotion. You're muted, brother Taki. You're muted.
I mentioned a minute ago about Dr. John Henry Clark, our great ancestor. With him in mind, can we speak to some of our early Pan-Africanists, some of the people that laid the way, some of the trailblazers in this field? Brother Kaba, that's...
You know, if we go to Brother Sylvester Williams, we go to W.B. Du Bois, we go to Booker Washington, we go to Marcus Garvey. See, someone else have separated these people in history for us, but when we study them, they're all having the same conversation at different times, in different locations, under different circumstances, on how you bring back Africa. I think the question we were discussing a few weeks ago, the rebirthing of African consciousness, because
So I'm gonna look at the comments for a second. Yeah, you already know. Like, it's like, I don't know if they're saying you feel it. You're just like, but all right, let's see what's going on. The comments. Let me like look through the comments. I actually haven't. I was kind of engaged in most people saying it was quiet. Bit hard to hear. Blah blah blah. Is it better now? It's not better now. 1000%. Boom. They're talking about things no one knows about. They like talking about things no one knows about. They like just talking stuff. They just like saying stuff. You know? And they realize that if the people Like the people just want to hear something. You know, it was, I didn't like when Amos Wilson said it because he was in front of a bunch of people saying it, like doing the same thing he was complaining about. But he was like, black folks show up to this shit like it's church. Now, I'm going to admit this is Sunday morning. A lot of people, you know, so on and so forth. But he's like, you show up like it's church. And it's like, you know, but here, the difference here is that the pastors not, these pastors ain't saying nothing. They're not saying nothing. They're just recycling, rehashing what the white boy is telling you. Or just saying it, just saying it. It's really weird. Because the people seem to be like enamored. You're gonna see like the money's pouring in. So they're gonna keep doing it. You understand? That's what happened with Yvette Carnell. Yvette Carnell was doing a whole bunch of shit for a long time. Nobody paid her any mind. But when she started doing this American shit, people were like, send her money. People work for money. It's not that complicated. You work for money. And if money comes in, if easy money is like the best type of money to get. OPM and easy money are the two best types of money to get. But we're gonna keep reading. So he said, so Tanzan asks, are these people hidden museum people? No, they're not the hidden museum people. Hidden museum is Tariq Nasheed. That's the FBA. These are like quote unquote Pan-Africanists pretending to wanna bridge a gap. Bridge the gap between the Pan-Africanists and the ABAs, you know? Kofi says, we don't know where they come from. We don't know yet. So Learning Curve says, greetings everyone. Why are our elders like this? Yeah, shit. Our elders. Nah, this is this shit, boy. I don't know about our elders, but you know, I mean, it's like a time zone elder. Look, what's going on? All right, Tanzan, divine panel. Yeah, right. Tanzan says, the elders who have been eating too well for too long. Yup. Forecast says, what's up, Oni? What's up, Forecast? And Kofi says, of course they Indians. I mean, the one guy, Kaba, looked like he might just be an Indian, so I ain't gonna hold him. Learning Curve says, these elders are doing nothing for the children, and they want to see anything but a powerful African, right? Kofi says it's pastor talk, and then Forecast is like, what's up to the matron? All right, so let's keep going.
Something has happened in the centuries that the Africans who had to mutate to survive have declared war on nature itself. They have declared war on nature itself, on cosmology itself. We minimize it by saying, oh, they pollute the environment. No.
Wait, you heard that, right? The Africans who mutated to survive declared war. So now he's like, what? Like, just say Europeans. Just say Eurasians. Why do you have to make them out to be Africans? And that's why I'm saying, like, one of the things that I do in my book is that, like, this is the thing about religion. Okay, religion. So religion is like a substitute for science. Okay? Back in the day, it was like, how do you explain something without having a complete body of science? Well, you make up stories, right? The origin of the races in the Bible, in the Wazungu religion, is something along the lines of Noah. So if you guys don't know about Noah's story, Noah is this dude who has 3 kids. No, basically the world is flooded, right? There's a flood. So here's the thing. In ancient history, there's records of floods, numerous floods, right? The white race only knows about one flood. Okay, and that's the flood being told about in the biblical story, right? The Africans know about 9 floods, okay, or more, and so you could see this inside of this story. It's called Timaeus by by Plato. Plato tells you in the story of Timaeus, I think it's Solon. Yeah, Solon, who's like the founder of democracy in Greece, right? He goes to study among the Africans in Egypt. And the Africans in Egypt say, Solon, you Greeks are perennial infants. None of you Greeks, none of you have become an elder, right? And then he goes on to say that, we can go back to what our family history, like what our family was doing, what our ancestors were doing 9,000 years ago. You guys only know about one flood. We know about a whole bunch, right? That's in the freaking literature. Okay? That's in the free, like Plato recorded. He's like, this is what Solon told me, that these motherfucking Africans is ancient, right? And that they're ancient, they got ancient literature, which is why I go back to this whole, like if we were debating this, well, not debating it, but we were discussing this on the Discord about how, these Jews just made up their freaking history, and everybody knows it because they didn't have any recorded history. None of the whites had any recorded history. So what they did was they took a story of the flood and they tried to justify their existence by saying that they were a descendant of the second son, Shem. Okay? Now you look at the story of Noah. He has 3 children, right? And I didn't really personally read through this stupid Bible. I just happened to have caught on to what this story was about, and I think I might have reread that part of it. Or I just know the historical value of it. Historical value of it is this. He has 3 children. The oldest is Ham. So the story basically is an allegory to tell you that the Africans are the oldest people. The second oldest being the Shems, who are, some people would say Semite, half black, half white. I don't know. I don't care. They say that some of them are descended from the nomadic whites and the agricultural blacks, right? That's why but I don't know. I don't really go into the linguistics. I don't really go into any of that stuff. I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Respectfully, right? What I'm saying is this. The Hamites were the first, and then here's how you know what the story is about. Here's how you know it came out of Egypt, right? The story starts with Ham having 4 children. The 2 oldest, so basically the first civilization and the second civilization, basically all the children are kingdoms. The first kingdom is Cush, and the second kingdom is Kemet. Now you look at it and you see like they're like the second son is Mizraim or something like that. That's Egypt. Okay, and if you look at African history and this is the book that you want to go get. This is the book you want to go get. I don't have the cover on me, but this is the book you want to go get. When We Ruled. Make sure you get When We Ruled. Just like if you don't get any other books, make sure you get When We Ruled. Right? Like that's the book. Now, you realize that in their story, they're like, oh yes, Egypt was a colony of Cushes. Oh, I wish I had that other book. So my other second favorite. Oh, I think it's right here. Shit, but why are my books on hand? Like, you know what I mean? All my books on hand. All right. They're just like right on the side. This book, another one. This is like, so I got the top 3 history books. I can't remember what the third one was, but this is one of the top 3. Drusilla Dungy Houston. She wrote Wonderful Ethiopians of the Ancient Kushite Empire. You can actually get this one on a PDF. Although I would just buy it, obviously. But you could get this one on a PDF. You probably can't get When We Ruled on a PDF, but you could get that on a PDF. So I can't remember, what was the third favorite? What was my third history book? I always talk about it, but it is what it is. So yeah, back to this, the Shem, whatever, right? The reason why I'm bringing this up is to say that these white folk created a history narrative to explain, like a quote unquote scientific narrative to explain why after a flood, there are still 3 races in the world. Right, and the story is that the person who survived the flood, Noah, had 3 children, and each of these 3 children were 3 different races, and each of these races created 3 kingdoms. Right, now it's not scientific, but it's just like that's what it is. Right, and of course, if you understand what the whole purpose of the story is to tell you that this group, these quote unquote Jews, are the descendant of the son of Shem, like you could trace down their lineage from this ancient population, which they couldn't really do because they didn't possess a literature at the time. The time of Egypt and stuff, they didn't have a literature because Egypt is the one who gives the world literature, or the Eastern, or the Western and the Eastern world literature. Okay, so they don't know, like they don't have this begets. I mean, you could technically have a story like that, but again, they don't actually exist as a historical population. And there's videos to confirm that. There's like science to confirm that they don't actually exist. They just made up the freaking story. But either way, why I'm saying this is to say that every group, so there's a need for science, right? There's a need for a story, a narrative. And then here you have these quote unquote elders who look at that need and what they're pushing on their own people, right? Because remember, this is like a whole African American panel. What they're pushing on their own people is, you know what? These white boys are Africans too. You understand? Even the ancient whites understood, you know what? Those are Hamites. And the Hamites, at least the Canaanites, are cursed. Even they understood to separate from a biological standpoint. And so, like, you check out my book, right? Those of you who don't know, of course, I'm going to show you guys. I wrote the Book of Power. In my Book of Power, when I mention whites, for the most part, I either call them Eurasians or I call them hybrids. Because I say, look, you know what? They're not, like, even if they were descended from Africans in some paradigm, in some sort of paradox, they mixed with Neanderthals. And everybody knows that. So we're not going to call them pure, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to call them what it is. Hybrids. That's what I say when I say that you have to have a scientific way of explaining yourself. But here, look at what these quote unquote elders are doing. They're just, oh, well, they were just mutated. It's not even true. It's not even true. Like, you go through the scientific and you say, look at this genome. This is the genome of a Neanderthal mixture. There is non-human DNA in this. I one time got in trouble with some sister because I was like, I don't even call them humans. You know, some black folk be like, the reason why they say mankind is because they a kind of man. You know, I don't do that, but that's what it is. But here you have quote unquote black elders in a larger black audience to see, like, y'all gonna be like, oh, you in a large audience, like, you see how many people listening to me right now. Like, I'm not even gonna look, but I'm gonna guess 10. Look at that, 7, 8. Okay, they had, I believe it was like 300. You understand? And they're collecting money on that, on the bullshit. 12,000 views.
They're at war with that very environment that is there to sustain our human beingness. And we are an element of that environment. So naturally, they have to declare war on us. We have to do something about that declaration of war. And the first thing we have to do is to establish the integrity of the oneness of things African. When I said things African, Brother Kaba was talking about the aspects of it. We're talking about things spiritual. And I'm not just talking about religion, some of the little tools of spirituality people have created to try to create rituals to teach themselves certain degrees of information that they can hold on to. But I'm talking about Africa as being, like the Ewe say in West Africa, Sogbelisa, being the totality of creation itself. The totality of creation itself. Not one little body living in creation, but the totality of creation. And that means our views on the cosmology, our views on ecology, our explanation for our relationship to this environment and ecology we live in, and to the cosmology that ecology exists in, and our relationship to it. All those things we did in Kemet, as beautiful as they look and as intriguing as they look, they were scientific statements made about how things work in the universe and in nature and in the human being. And in order to have that thing we call ma'at, that balance, that harmony, you must then work the way things work.
You see this man just throwing out keywords, you know? Oh, look, somebody said pro-black perspective is correct. Yeah, I think I got pissed off at some point. So this is Cash App Love. Rufus sent $10. See, I need to do that. Y'all gonna see my Cash App. Is it on the screen? I don't know, but y'all see my Cash App. I need to be like Cash App Love. What did I say over here? You already deleted my comment. Let me see. Yeah, I don't see. Oh, here. Only one race? I'm like, only one race? Oh, gosh. Miss me on that. No disrespect. You know what I'm saying? And somebody was like, yo, this brother correct. You know what I mean? Because, like, it was just going out. It was getting out of hand. You know?
There's a force in nature now that is opposed to that and have been for nearly, 10,000, no longer, a couple of 100,000 years now. And that force is at war with nature. The people that we're trying to identify, or the personage, or the position that is called Africa or African, must be the opposition. I don't think the behavior of the Eurasian community is abnormal at all. I think they're doing the most normal thing, making the most normal response to their situation. We're the ones that's behaving abnormally. We're not responding to nature and cosmology and the human's family relationship.
This motherfucker's all talk. So I want y'all to realize, like, so I'm coming to this after reading some Chinwezu. Okay? My webcam off? My webcam's off. I'm coming to this after reading some Chinwezu. Okay? Chinwezu is like this. Look, we as African people need to industrialize. We need to focus our energies and our efforts on industrializing and making things for ourselves. What the fuck are these guys talking about? What are they talking about? What are you talking about? Y'all gonna notice that they don't say nothing but little feel good. Oh, you know, I think the white man's a psychopath. Okay. He's a psychopath, so what? You know, I'll tell you, shout out to Tanzania. She sent me this battle. There was some battle in Wazungu history. Ottoman Empire fighting the Christian Alliance or some shit like that. Okay? The Christians are winning because of superior artillery, superior weapons, all that kind of stuff. Right? I don't want to give away the thing. You guys could go check out the Discord or you know, hit up Tanzania yourself. But my thing is this. This is like a 15-something battle. And these white folk are figuring out, revisiting their own historical legacy and saying, you know what? With superior weapons, we can fight and win against other groups of people or against other Eurasians. And fast forward to today, and you still sitting around talking about, no, I think that they're psychopaths. I think that they have another psychology, and it's not going to nature. Like, nobody fucking cares. What are you doing to industrialize? You're never going to hear these people say anything about that. Never. And yet, they're going to get much more shine than our brother Chinwezu. Much more. And you got to realize this. Because see, Chinwezu was doing a presentation. How many people listened to it? This is like 300, 400 people. And it's just, you know, 12,000 views. Everybody just, oh my gosh, eating it up, gobble, gobble. You understand? Let's see what let me see what the comments say. Mr. Untouchable says, don't watch the numbers, watch the quality of the viewership. I'm not gonna say that the people aren't quality viewership. You know, and not just that, I want to give them props. They setting money up. You know what I mean? like that's like shit. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect. But they setting money up, so I can't even how do you judge? You know? How do you judge? These are the people with the disposable income that actually reward their speakers, even if their speakers are talking shit. You know? I would love for during Bitter Medicine's podcast, Shoot the Breeze, we got super chat, cash app. I want to see that. And of course I'm going to say that, you know, our viewers for the Bitter Medicine is better, obviously. You know, obviously. But notwithstanding that, you know, that's another quality that you'd like to see in general. So I'm not even gonna and that's not even and that's just to say that, you know, I'm not gonna say that the quality isn't good or is bad. Like, I'm not gonna I can't even judge that. How am I gonna judge the people? Like, I don't judge the people. You know what I mean? It's the leaders who are to be judged. You don't gotta judge the followers per se. If you catch my drift. You know, they don't know better, I guess. I don't know. But that's why we have these kind of programs. Learning curve says we do not finance our stories. Our storytellers must go into the world and recapture the imagination of our people by telling our stories in creative ways. Otherwise, the children will be lost. And here's the thing. They financing this. You know, we think that appealing to logic and science will move our people. Most people are children, and children like stories. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, shit, that's the tough part. Cause see me, I'm not. Y'all see how I look. I'm not into stories. I don't know. It looks like my camera might be a little bit clogged, but you know, I'm not into stories. I'm into kicking ass and taking names. You know what I'm saying? It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum. You know what I'm saying? That's what I do. And I'm all out of gum. You feel me? All right. So Taz says, so these old men are slow and wrong. Yeah, they still at the kiddies table. They at the kiddies table, but these guys have been hustling the black community for decades. For decades. Tariq's just a new kid on the block. These guys been at it. I'm telling you, I've seen them when I was like in my early 20s. You know? I've seen that. I've seen them, you know, hey you guys, I'm gonna collect some money. I'm gonna collect some money to stop gentrification in Harlem. We're gonna get a bunch of black businesses. You watch, collect the money. I'll tell you, I watched the Happy documentary. I watched it. James Small came on toward the end. Pissed me off. Okay? Because there he is standing in Harlem. He's like, I'm in the famous Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard, whatever, right? Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard, right? That's where I met this dude, like in the Malcolm X Tower or something like that. No, it wasn't Malcolm X Tower. It was some building or whatever. It might be Malcolm X Tower. I don't know. But I met this dude. He was there collecting money. Guilting me to like take out like whatever money I had at the time because I was still a young buck, right? And the dude said, yeah, he's gonna do it. And so at the end of this documentary, they're showing you the clip of what Harlem looked like. This motherfucker looks like I don't know. I mean, I guess it's in Manhattan, but it looked like Manhattan. It's just white, like a big ass new McDonald's. And I'm just like, shit. Like I haven't been in Harlem in a minute. Not gonna hold you, but it's on his watch, and he was collecting money for it. So it's just like, how are you still active? How are you still active? And it comes back to that conversation. I remember because like I said, I used to be in the movement, and the sister would give me documentaries and DVDs and all that shit, and like even audio tapes. She gave me an audio tape of Khalid Muhammad, and you know I still remember what he said. He was like, I actually had it in my ringtone. It was like, you'll never see me with the blonde head, blue-eyed, stringy head, buttermilk complexion, straight up but straight down, ironing board backside, miss 6 o'clock, no frills, no thrills, subject to have the itch, white cave bitch. Never will you see me do that. Then he goes, let the church say amen. Let the church say amen again. Let the church say amen one more time. You know, I actually memorized it. Y'all thought I was like reciting it. Nah, I memorized that shit from like 10 years ago. But right. Anyway, but it's just like, that's how you live your life. But yeah, so she also gave me like a documentary of like loaned me a DVD of Clyde Anderson. And Clyde Anderson's talking about how we the only people, and I think he's talking about African Americans, right? We the only people who do not hold their leaders accountable. And he was like, you know, he was touring the, you know, in a multi-racial kind of movement. And all the time it was like Indians and Latinos and Asians and all that kind of stuff. Everybody was talking about, you know, at the end of all their panels or whatever, he'd be like, hey guys, let's talk about accountability. Hey guys, let's talk about accountability. They always like just passed over him. Till one time a Native American stopped and said, look, man, nobody else needs to talk about accountability. Only your people do. Because, see, if a Native American doesn't want to go to the powwow, doesn't want to be among, like he wants to go to the white folk, we cut him off. He's no longer welcome to the powwow. But y'all, if a black person betrays you, they'll be invited to the cookout on the following Sunday. Y'all the only people that don't do accountability. And it hit Dr. Claude Anderson And, you know, he repeated to us, and I was like, shit, you know, I see the same shit. Because, you know, you see if a white woman is just doing this, you know, I was actually finna dance, but if a white woman's doing this, just, let's get into the cookout. You know, like, oh, get into the cookout. Like, a white was doing that, so of course, if somebody motherfucking stabs you in the back, you gonna put him in the cookout. It is what it is. See what the comments are like. We think that appealing to logic, there's untouchables here, old men, blah, blah, blah. It's untouchables says integrationists. These old men just want a peaceful death. Now, they want to collect bank off of these black folk. Bit of Medicine wants to know if Tanzan's on Discord. Tanzan says she's not. Tanzan seems to only like YouTube. Learning Curves goes, white people won the right to tell the story of humanity through violence. You know what I mean? And like, you know, you know what I mean? It is what it is. Let's keep going.
Role in the manner that we should. Now, those methodologies that we must learn is lodged in language, is lodged in culture, is lodged in spiritual system, is lodged generally in history. So how do we extract that through our educational and research process and try to teach the people a methodology of behavior or moving towards a certain kind of behavior so that you'll understand what your role is in nature? If we want to just get past the terms of race, we know there's only one race. It is the human race.
You see how he did all that shit to backtrack into the human race thing? It's just like, what the, like, this guy is so freaking phony. All of them are just so freaking phony. They're just gonna say stuff. They're gonna disarm you. This is how you do it. This is how, it's like, it's just classic. You know what I mean? It's like this is why, you know, Tariq Nasheed could do what he's doing. It's like, I think he wrote a book, a manual on how to get with women, right? I remember one of these brothers told me to read it, you know, because why did he tell me to read it? Oh yeah, because I was like reading these white boys on seduction and shit, and he was like, why are you reading these white boys? You know, look at what, like, it's a black man who wrote something. I was like, all right, fine, whatever, I'll look at this shit, you know. But anyway, so I'm reading his book. And it's like, you know, like one thing, like one advice was interesting about, you know, women like to look at a man's shoes first. I didn't really understand that shit, but it's what it is, you know. But, you know, outside of that, you know, you realize he's like, look, I'm a pimp. We know about manipulating people. We know about manipulating people to get what we want. And like this right here is intellectual pimpistry. Because what happens is this. You go to somebody and you sound like you're an authority. Like, you hear the tone of their voice, how they're talking. I mean, even in the Book of Power, I give you guys some insight on, like, speaking. And so, you know, I know some of you are like, well, Oni, how the fuck are you giving me insight on speaking if you sound like that? But, like, basically, like, there's a way, like you slow down your tone, right? And you speak in a deliberate way where you kind of speed up over small details, but then you slow down and measure how you're talking, right? People will listen deeper, right? And you will sound more informed no matter what you're saying, right? Even if you're talking chicken. No, I'm joking, I can't do that. But like, the point is that, you know, yeah, there's a way to do it. I don't personally do it all the time, but there's a way to do it. And these guys know this. I'm telling you, like, I used to be in this organization. Like I said, my sister elder would just throw game to me. She would point out that some of these dudes went to speaking, charisma classes, all that kind of shit. And they were just like, it's all about collecting bank. I'm telling you guys, it's all about collecting bank. But it is what it is.
Have labeled it African.
Oh no, so the reason why I gave you all that is to say he gives you this tone, the slow tone, and he gives you some good stuff. You get disarmed. You say to yourself, oh look, he's talking that, well, African spirituality is the main thing. You know, these your agents, he draws you in. And then he hits you with but there's only one human race, and we know that. Like, what?
But if you look in African language, they didn't label themselves the way we are labeling ourselves today. They saw themselves only as God beings, living beings. And whatever word they use in whatever language, if you look at their words for person, people, place, or thing, they had that thing they call God or the divine, either at the suffix or the prefix for their person, people, place, or thing. So they saw themselves, and I've heard Kaba say it, and I've been saying it, we are God having a human experience. That may sound like a cliche, but it's not a cliche at all. That was the striving of people, and that was how the cultures were trying to raise themselves to inform and instruct people on how to live in this environment, in this universe. That's been fractured, as Dr. Noble said. Our consciousness have been shattered.
But you hear it though, right? You heard Dr. Noble and this was so forth. And this was, it's the Pan-Africanism. It's like, what are you even saying? But here's the thing. You say that quickly. You see what I'm saying? Like you'd even listen, like you barely heard it. You say it quickly. We talk about this. Like I said, go read the Book of Power. Like it's like the first episode, The Art of Speechcraft or something like that. You go over the small details really quickly, right? And then, you measure out the rest of it so that, like, you pick up on it. You just, like, you heard him out of nowhere. Like Wayne Noble said, or, this person and that person said that we are gods having a human experience. And this is the African way. And it's like, what? Where? What? And the thing is this, like a lot of people will take issue with quote unquote, like let's say black diaspora, right? Because of the stuff that like this, where it's like you just like just paintbrush Africa on this somehow, no justification, with the exception of two of us said it.
Added, and our identity have been broken, and
I'll probably go to an hour on this video.
Seen through the centuries the struggles of our great historians, male and female, trying to help us restore that shattered consciousness, restore that broken identity, so that we again can bring harmony and balance to this world.
Excellent convo. Love to hear the master teachers speak. What are you fucking talking about? Like, what are they even saying? I didn't even know 20 minutes came by. And if you ask me, hey, what was said during the first 20 minutes, I don't even know, except for the fact that they were doing some trader shit. Trader Joe's over here.
Who else can do it? I don't care how powerful the Eurasian community gets. And they're very powerful right now. They cannot restore the harmony and balance to the environment we find ourselves living and breathing in, nor the cosmology in which we all reside in. And to me, Pan-Africanism speaks to that.
Cash App Love, $20.
To the African as a greater being in the totality of things, ecological and cosmological.
Thank you, Professor Smalls. Thank you for that. It's powerful.
It's powerful. That's what I'm saying. Like, you couldn't have me on these freaking panels because I'd be like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, legit. Or I would, nah. I can't. I'm telling you, it's so hard for me with this sort of stuff. It's like hard for me. There was something that was like trending on Twitter where, I wanted to mind my business. Somebody was like, you can't find anything Francis Cress Weldon said that's incorrect. That lady's just flawless. And everybody's just jumping. She's perfect. She's perfect. And you're just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like the lady was pseudoscientific. These people, pseudoscientific. And it's just like they're just like, fire, I say, bomb. Like, what is going on? What planet is this? That's how you understand divinity, your perception of reality, and how you understand yourself with ecology, the cosmos, and your knowledge of divinity as a true relationship. Like, this is why folk, because, like, y'all be like, yo, like, cause sometimes you be listening to people sometimes, they be like, yo, man, these hoteps, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, don't use that word disparagingly. What are you doing? And then you hear these other motherfuckers, and you're like, that's what you call a hotep. Gotcha. Like, what are you talking about? That's how you understand your divinity, your perception of reality, dude.
Brother Chase.
And then it's just like, why is this little boy here? Why is this little boy here? But apparently he runs a successful Instagram account. I don't know.
This discussion deals with the foundational Black American.
And you're giving him the benefit of the doubt because he's just sitting there chill. This dude's the most ridiculous of them all. He's the most ridiculous. I mean, it's like, yeah, okay, he's a young kid, sure. But, like, he's the most... And it's like, how do you get more ridiculous? This guy's going to come with this negative energy and be like...
ADOS. So with that, for those people who are not familiar, can you please explain what the foundation of Black American is? Now you're muted, Chase.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Peace to the family again. Foundational Black American is a lineage. It's a unique ethnic group.
I see the comment. Hold on a second. I see the comments. Let me just look through the comments before things get a little more. Let's see. I've heard... Oh, yeah. Mr. Tuttle says Dr. Clark will be turning in his grave. Yeah. Human species, and it's definitely more one. Yeah, more than one. Yeah. Exactly. Like, these motherfuckers are hybrids. Mr. Tuttle says they would never talk this shit if Dr. Ben was alive, right? Shit. I saw when Dr. Ben was alive. These motherfuckers was talking this shit. Like, I was there. I saw Dr. Ben. You know what I'm saying? I saw Dr. Ben after I saw James Small and James McIntosh and Kaba and all them motherfuckers, you know? Learning Curse says, even the animal kingdom is broken down into different groups within groups. Why would humans, the most dangerous species of all, be any different? We have the power to pick our group. Pick your group. Mr. Tuttle says, name drop to make these erroneous statements valid all the fucking time. It's the fan... See, because y'all be like, why you call them fan-Africans? Are they fan-Africans? They are fans! And they're just using that fandom to trick up. Like, basically, they woke up one day, they watched a few Dr. Clark videos, they you know... saw a few Dr. Clark videos, saw a few Dr. Ben videos, you know, and said, I can do that too. A lot of them. It's not about, like, notice you don't hear nothing about industrialization. Notice you don't hear, like, even Tanzan, just yesterday, long discussion on youth leaders, you know, educational reform, whatever, right? You got Nyere, right? Who she's gonna hate on my pronunciation, but whatever. Right? You got Nyere. He's long thing about how to reform the freaking how to reform the farms, like reform the schools, kind of low key making them to farms. I didn't really agree with it, but that's a motherfucker. Like, that's a leader. That's a Pan-Africanist saying to themselves, "Hey, look, we have the trouble of poverty. We have the trouble that the fact that the schools are costing us 20% of our income. How do we solve this? Let's make the schools produce their own income." Okay? That's a man. That's a Pan-Africanist. What are they even talking about? Oh, the divine nature. The divine nature and basically the Eurasians, they're powerful now. But if we get to our... Like, what are you fucking even saying? Like, what are you even saying? And then so you know that this other scholar, Naeem Akbar, he said that. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you even bringing this up? Why? And how is it that people are engaging you as a serious, as a serious elder? As a serious elder, how are people engaging you as a serious elder? How does that even make any sense? Where does that make sense? No other people. You know, look, I'm telling you the truth. Watch this. If these people were white, and they were just, we have to go to our ancient, Viking ancestry and blah blah blah, and how the Vikings used to do things and blah blah blah, they would just be a niche group. I'm not saying that these people are not niche, but they wouldn't be regarded as elders, except for by a bunch of freaking psychopaths. Honestly. You know, they were like, hey, let's solve our problem. You know, if the white people had they had problems in this world, they would not be looking to these people as elders. They would be like, oh, they're wicked or some shit. Or, oh, they're like Viking. Or they're like Renaissance people. Like Ren Fair. They're dorks. They're losers. You know? You got real problems and you talking about the Ren Fair. They would say, nah. That's why I'm asking, these your elders. I'm seeing my viewers go down. I'm asking, are these your elders? Let's see something. Learning Curve said, these hustlers been at it for a while, and yes, they are all about the bag because they are paid to pacify the integrations. The integration is as opposed to participating in the real work. Integration is not integrations, right? No, FBA and ADOS link themselves directly to white people and do not recognize their disinherited status. Yup. Mr. Tuttle says, the man literally made up the term on his internet podcast. Yeah, exactly. It's just like outrage, because I'm just like, I'm sitting here in the audience like, who's gonna fucking say that FBA is just a way to grift? And so I say it, and I'll shout out to the guy on the left, on the bottom left. He's like, he highlights the comment, so I'm just like, you know what, can't hate on him, right? Kofi says they have a book coming out dissing Pan-Africanism as well. Who is a book coming out, and why? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, what does this have to do with industrialization? Like, again, these are the freaking quote unquote Pan-Africans. Brother Bakari says, what's up? What's up, Brother Bakari? All right, so let's go back to this thing. How do we get to this?
I'm sorry, Chase.
Black American. I'm sorry.
Just real quick, I'm sorry. And I should have asked you this in the first. I apologize. Can you please, for those who don't know, introduce yourself?
Okay.
Because there's a lot of people here who may not be familiar with you.
Okay.
I like the two giants we have here. I just want to make sure everyone knows who you are. And then we'll get into
compared to the Giants, right. Well, I'm a student of Baba Kaba. I'm a student of Professor James Small. I'm just your everyday brother Chase. I run the Voice of the Ancestors page on Instagram. That's what most people know me for. Also have the Voice of the Ancestors book series, which is a Amazon best-selling book series. We've amassed over about 280,000 followers, I think, the last time we checked on Instagram. So most people
look how this guy is getting wet off of the idea that he can get some money off of this kid. Like, just look at his facial expression. He's all 280,000. Like, as soon as he said 280,000, he was first like $280,000. Just look at his face. Look at his, like, body language is 90%. No, I think it was like 50-something%. But it's like a big, or 80% of language. Watch how Kaba reacts to the 280,000. Look at his facial expression. This dude is just like hide your wallet.
To the Ancestors page on Instagram. That's what most people know me for. Also have the Voice of the Ancestors book series, which is a Amazon best-selling book series. We've amassed over about 280,000 followers, I think, the last time we checked on Instagram. So
you saw that, right? You saw him just like nod after he said followers. Like, oh, okay. Like, the dude was just like 280,000. Okay. Hide your fucking wallets, man. Hide your wallets. Just hide your wallets. I'm telling you the truth. Hide your wallets.
Most people know me from there, so I'm just your everyday young brother, just playing this role, playing this part in the revolution.
Okay. All right, that's pretty modest, but okay. Well,
I don't want to give it to us something simple, and I'm also from Atlanta, Georgia, for the people who are wondering out there, so I'm from Atlanta.
Okay. All right, Brother Chase. So with that being said, now we're going to get right into the question.
Right.
From your understanding and from your knowledge and wisdom, what is a foundational Black American?
Well, a foundational Black American is a lineage. Foundational Black American is a unique ethnic group. Essentially, take all the confusion out of it, a foundational Black American is a Black American who's a non-immigrant. He can trace his lineage back to the American system of slavery. This is a unique ethnic group. There was no United States of America before foundational Black Americans built the United States of America. And that's our own unique ethnic group. And that's important to understand. It has nothing to do with genetics. We're not making the argument that genetically we're not African or we're something different genetically from a Jamaican or a Haitian. But we're talking about our own unique ethnic group who has their own unique ties to this land. So that's what a foundational Black American is.
Okay. Now, with that being...
Now, here's the thing, though. Look, nobody, I'll tell you the truth, nobody cares if quote-unquote African Americans identify as African Americans, separate from other people. Matter of fact, I'll tell y'all this. It was actually yesterday. Some sister asked me, she said, "Are you Caribbean?" And I go, "Sort of." And she goes, "How can you be sort of?" And I'm like, "Well, I guess my parents came from Jamaica." And she's like, "Oh, okay." And of course, she was Caribbean too, but she was from some like, small ass island. And that's the thing about this. She was from a small ass island. She had the African phenotype, okay? like she was from like Dominica, Okay. And I was like, Dominican Republic? She goes, Dominica. I'm like, okay. But anyway, African phenotype. So it's like, if you think that Africans weren't brought to the Americas, like, you out of your damn mind. Like, yeah, I guess you look more African than like everybody here, I guess. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But like, yeah, you know, obviously they came from, like a lot of us came from abroad. That said, you know what I mean by when I say everybody. But that said, yeah. Nobody cares if, you know, like if they ask me the same question, you know, because I was born, another person I think asked me, I was like, I'm born and raised in Brooklyn. They're like, oh, so where are you from? And I'm like, I told you I was from Brooklyn. And they go, no, like, where are you from? And you're like, oh, okay. And if I said Jamaica, or I say down south, you know, if I put on my accent, I don't know how the accent go. I'll go down south or something. I don't know. But if I said that, nobody gives a shit. No, everybody's fine with the reality that you could be from, you could be descended from a people group from another place. Nobody's getting on, quote unquote, African Americans about that. If you ask me, hey, on a citizenship level, am I African American? Sure, I'll say I'm African American. You know, maybe if I'm pressed to do it in an official census, I might say Jamaican American. You know, comes time that I say African, period. You know what I mean? Tell on myself, just say African, period. But for the most part, nobody cares if you somehow, you know, 50 years ago, your ancestors were in Mississippi and somebody else's ancestors were in Kingston. Nobody gives a shit. You know? But don't go and tell people that when you, like, you could say, you know, the indigenous African American or something, but whatever it is that you want to say, right? Or the whatever, you can't hide the fact that this group, FBA, is just some shit Tariq Nasheed made up in order to get money that he saw was trickling to Yvette Carnell. That's it. Because see, if you were in Yvette Carnell's super chat, you would see much more donations. And this is already more than, you know, me or Koku see. You know, I don't know about everybody else, but that's more than me. You know what I'm saying? That said, actually, well, probably like because I don't actually have no super chat. But anyway, that said, yeah, you know, like nobody gives a shit. Yeah, like, look, the problem is that this is the motherfucking hate group that's inspired by this dude just to collect money off of black folk. That's it. That's it. That's when it becomes a problem. But nobody cares if you're like, oh, I'm from down south. That's cool. Like, I was dating this woman. She was from Texas. Had a nice body. She said everything's bigger in Texas. My black ass not complaining. You know what I'm saying? like it was like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't complaining. Oh, gosh. No. She's from Texas. She's African American. Oh, no. Who? You know what I'm saying? Please. Shit, boy. Anyway.
And said, what is, I want to make sure I say this right. What is ADOS? And how does those two, if they're connected, how are they connected? And what is the difference?
Well, ADOS is a...
Well, first off, bit of medicine. You need to stop hanging out with Tanzania talking about, I'm saying Dominica with. That's how she said it. Like, legit, this lady from the place literally told me this. She's from Dominica. And by the way, you guys probably caught that the dude's Cash App just showed up. $50 by Kepper Ka Heru Jutism. Oh, I think this might even be no, I don't think it is. But anyway, peace and blessings to the fam. Respect to you all. The Pan-African concept is beautiful. But let's be honest, the Pan-African ideology has been working for the most part in only one direction for a long time. So basically he pays, that's what I'm saying, like, I don't know. It's a tough call. I get it though. You know, when somebody from the super chat says some fuck shit and you gotta like highlight it because, you know, you want the super chat. Now, I don't know if I'm going to do the same thing if some motherfucker comes in my super chat. Because, you know, look like YouTube don't want me to have no super chat. But I don't know if I'm going to do the same fuck shit with somebody in the super chat send some money. But I mean, look, somebody in the super chat send some money. Like, you're going to be out of your damn mind if you think I'm going to just let it slide. Okay? I mean, you could do it. You know, I'll take that money to the bank. But you're out of your damn mind if you think you're going to be like, well, you know, N-words ain't shit. And I'm going to be like, well, you know, according to Capper, N-words ain't. Nah! I mean, like, look, I appreciate your money, but what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, man. Shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, let's just say I'm not desperate for money like that. You know what I mean? But anyway, it is what it is. Let's see. Brother, Mr. Untouchable says Giants. This dude thinks he's an engine. Mr. Untouchable says cha-ching revolution. LOL. They're using some big words. Tariq, little street soldier. Let me see. I only put on live chat because I don't know if he's responding to something that I don't see. So he said, Kofi says they got the Build America talking points, and they're gonna say it. They're gonna say it, and it's like, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Brother Christ says nothing. I mean, not a thing unique about African American. You know, I mean, like, look, like I like African Americans. You know what I'm saying? And look. If somebody came to me and said, like I'm saying, look, in all fairness, I would never do the thing where people say, you know, African Americans don't have culture. I wouldn't say that. In the same way that, because like if you were to say that, you could say the same thing about Jamaica, and like nobody would let you say that, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that Jamaica has some, you know, but like if you were, because that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes we mistake culture with customs. Okay? Sometimes we mistake culture with customs. Jamaicans have their own customs, depending on what city you're in, right? Haiti has its own customs depending on what city you're in, and America got its own customs depending on what city you're in. You know, me coming from New York, right? Things is different from if I was in Chicago. You know, if I was in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? If I was in Florida. You know? Or Florida, according to Bit of Medicine, right? Damn Dominican weird. Anyway, what do you say? Dominica? What do you say? Anyway, I say Dominican weird. But yeah, like depending on where you at, like nobody's gonna say there's no different customs. I mean, like if you would just say, yeah, we're unique based off of that, that's fine. But like reality is this: somebody's there for 3 generations, they probably gonna pick up on it. You know? But Gribble Car says I don't have enough subs to get super chat. Yeah, but I mean these guys is getting Cash App too. That's what I'm trying to say. They're getting Cash App too. Bit of Medicine says people have said that in America about the Bahamas not having culture. Yeah, I'm saying like, look, it is what it is. Like nobody really gives a shit. You know, nobody really gives a shit. The reality is that you go anywhere else on the planet and you're gonna see a different custom. Period. You know. That's how I say it. Flow Rider. You know, that's a rapper though. That's what I'm trying to say. Like that guy Will I Am. Who the fuck says William like that?
Lineage / organization, it kind of you know, plays on those two lines, which is the reason why a lot of people use the term foundational Black American. Because when we say foundational Black American, I'm not talking about an organization, not a political party or anything like that. I'm strictly talking about a lineage. So ADOS is a lineage / organization. They have chapters and different things around the country, but their goals are kind of similar to ours at a certain point, which is.
So this is Wahida in the chat. She says the vast majority of FBAs are actually making that argument. I hope Chase knows this. He's like, where? And she's like, where does Voice of Ancestors stop the ancestry? All that kind of stuff. I got a shout out to Wahida though. When I did this Marcus Garvey course, she was one of the people who enrolled in the course, and it was a short-lived course because it got sabotaged, obviously. But like, you know, shout out to her for joining through. And she also got a copy of the Book of Power, so shout out to her for that.
Reparations for foundational Black Americans. So one of the goals. So that's essentially what ADOS is. It's more of an organization side.
So you mentioned reparations a second ago. Mm-hmm. And I know some of the chatter we hear surrounding this discussion is that from a foundational Black American standpoint, the issue of reparations is a real sticky point with other groups. Could you elaborate on that a little bit, Chase?
You're talking about some of the.
And see, this thing right here is, Kepper gives the $50. He's all about the ADOS. He's all, Chase is on point, you know. And somebody else is gauging him like, how is it one-sided? This is not a conversation with the biggest conversation, which is the Twitter Spaces. FBA is claiming all kinds of crazy theories, right? Yeah, this is not the conversation with the biggest conversation, which is in Twitter Spaces. FBA is claiming all kinds of theories. Like, basically, they put on this guy who's kind of tame, or he's pretending to be tame. By the way, make sure you guys go in the settings when you're watching something and put up the quality as high as it can be.
The controversy behind foundational Black Americans going for reparations?
Yes, and some of the other groups saying maybe we don't deserve it or so forth. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, they've always telling us what we deserve and what we don't deserve, so we don't really get bothered by that. As foundational Black Americans, we're coming for what we are owed. And that's a part of our culture. That's a part of our spirit. That's foundational Black Americans. We don't allow people to tell us what we deserve to get and what we don't deserve to get. Oftentimes,
like what is this fucking straw man? You guys don't deserve to get reparations. Like, who's saying that? Who, like, name the freaking movement. Name the institution that's going out, just out of their way to be like, hey, you know what, you Black Americans don't deserve. Most people are just saying, this white boy don't give a shit. That's what most people saying. Or like, hey man, like right now we trying to industrialize. Why are you talking to us about something that, like, why do you want us to move resources into securing something that you know damn well you ain't gonna get? You know what I'm saying? Like Yvette Carnell got her money. And I made a face because this dude said Dominica. Dominica. This motherfucker, yo. No disrespect. But let's see, yeah. Like Dominica, like I'm gonna say that. Dominica. Dominica.
especially in the global Black community, a lot of people who are non-FBA, who are trying to get their hands in on the reparation pot from the United States of America. And we're trying to keep it very specific. That's why we came up with the term.
Who the fuck is trying to like get the money? They're trying to put their hands in the reparation pot. Yeah, like Wahida says, who tells the FBA they don't deserve reparations? Why are you the only ones I hear even say that? Like how is it even up to the Jamaican immigrants or whatever, or the African continent Nigerian immigrants, I guess, like two big groups, right? I know you guys are gonna be like, well, the other Caribbean islands, okay, but anyway, like, okay, guys, I'm joking, I'm just messing. But anyway, nah, for real though, this lady said Dominica, like, what the fuck, like, where is that? I don't even know where that is. But I'm a Dominica, like, okay. And no, she was like one of them Africans, like she was straight up Black, so she wasn't like Latin American, if that's like Dominica. But yeah. Like he was asking, who tells FBA they don't deserve reparations? I don't even like how this dude set up that question. Like, oh yeah, some people are saying you guys do, and then he's like, they're just trying to get into the pot. Now, what person? Now, of course, these quote unquote other people are like small groups, you know. They're like, hey, they're like, hey, can they get some of this reparations too? Like, that's not even a thing. But even if they did, like how, like, what does that even do for you? Like, first off, it's like you're not even getting the money. But if you did get the money, like, who even cares? See, me personally, like, for instance, like me, like, I wouldn't claim it. But like my son, he would be considered, like he would technically be considered descended from that because his mother is descended from that, right? So like I would still get the fucking bag anyway. So it's like, but like I'm still not gung ho because I'm just like, I don't like it. It's unrealistic. You guys said it. You were not gonna vote for the Democrats, and you lined up like you just like lined up for Biden. So, if your whole thing was we're gonna stop the Biden election, you didn't do that even remotely. So nobody's gonna take you seriously. These FBA, matter of fact, they showed up. They were expecting like 1 million people to show up at some meeting, or maybe this was a pre-meeting or whatever. Like 6 people showed up. Like, come on, nobody gonna take you fucking seriously. The only people that's gonna take you, all people taking you seriously are the people collecting your money. They just know you're gonna give out your money to be heard. Look at this, $50.
Foundational Black Americans, because the moment we allow any and everybody to get their hands on it, somebody who comes from maybe an immigrant lineage, that opens up the floodgates for everybody. And understanding as a foundational Black American, we understand this government, this system of white supremacy in this country better than anybody else. They're a master at using broad and ambiguous terms. So they'll say minority. They've been calling us minority. They'll call us people of color. They'll call us the urban community. And that could be anybody. That could be white women. That could be humpbacks, midgets, anybody that we think of. So we're making sure the language is very specific. We want reparations for foundational Black Americans specifically. Our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean islands, they have something called CARICOM. They're fighting for reparations going to brothers and sisters in the Caribbean. We're not interfering with that. We're not undermining that. We respect that. And so that's what kind of some of the controversy come in. A lot of people think it's divisive. They should get reparations too. But we're talking about reparations for a specific group, which is foundational Black Americans who can trace their lineage back to the American system of slavery. And that's where we're starting at.
Right.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I see Mr. Untouchable hated in the comments. So hey, Mr. McCarty says, do this country really owe us? I mean, look, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, how do you get somebody else to owe you money? Like, if somebody were to break into my house, this is the issue I have with a lot of quote unquote African Americans, honestly, right? And it's not even to do with like, because I remember sometimes, like, no disrespect to this brother, because he's a good brother. So I'm not gonna say who it is, but he's a good brother. And like, you know, I think it was on Twitter recently. You know, actually, you guys are gonna know. So, but like, you know, he's like, you know, he's talking about North Africa, and he's like that's our land. You know, we should take it, so on and so forth. And I mean, like, yeah, I agree. Like, realistically, from a militaristic standpoint, I don't see no border. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if African people rule over fucking Spain. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, if you could do it, then do it. But that's not what I was talking about. You know? But, like, as far as, like, land claims are not a real thing. And I feel like a lot of quote-unquote African Americans feel like land claim is a real thing. It's not a real thing. You know? I have this house right now. If 10 white folk break down my fucking door, right? Like, while I'm live, break down my fucking door, just kick me the fuck out. And then they like take the fucking house deed, right? And whatever. That's it on my household. Okay, that's it on my household. I can't be like, well, that's my house. You know, they owe me my house. Like, I can't do that. You understand? I can't do that. You can't say somebody else owes you something unless you could. Look. Dude comes to me. I got $100 in my pocket, right? Dude comes to me, puts a bullet to my chest, right? No, not a bullet to my chest. He puts a gun to my chest, right? He could say I owe him $100. He could say that. I can't say that, like, I can't say after he takes $100, hey, he owes me $100. Nobody gives a fuck. Now, if I'm inside of some sort of society, they could enforce onto him to give me back my $100 or get me $100 back from my loss. That depends on the society. But you inside of their society right now, so unless you willing to gun for it, you lost it. Unfortunately, you lost it. You know, like that's the reality. Like you're in the real world. In the imaginary world, sure, you could sue for damages based off of something that in the imaginary world you could do that. But in the real world, you can't do that. You know? All right. Anyway, so Jamaicans think they are the center of the universe. Yeah, so anyway, Mr. Touchable, I was just joking. I heard other people tell me that. Jamaicans think they are the center of the universe. I ain't mad though. That's how you're supposed to think. Nah, real talk. I heard other Caribbean folk tell me that. I think even what's his face? Wait, did Bitterman, you ever say that you sometimes people ask you if you're Caribbean? No, somebody said something along the lines of like people ask if they're Caribbean, and like after they say they're Caribbean, or after they say the accent, they just say they're Jamaican because people don't even know like the other countries. But like I think that Jamaicans and Trinidadians kind of feud over who the big dog of the Caribbean island. Of course, it's Haiti, but ain't nobody care. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, like, yeah, no, I'm just messing. I'm not like me personally. I'm not Jamaican. Everybody know that. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty obvious I'm not Jamaican. I just got the hair. So anyway, Brother Bakari says he's quoting Claude Anderson to a T. Trigger Happy says it ain't even realistic to invade North Africa if we being honest. Like right now, you don't even have control of shit. Like if you have control of shit, you can go invade anywhere. That's what England did. England didn't say we got a land claim in Botswana. You know, England didn't say we have a land claim on the Gold Coast. They just went there. That's how the real world is. That nobody gives a shit about land claims. Nobody. I don't. You don't. Nobody gives a shit about land claims in the real world. Nobody cares about damages done to your ancestors in the real world. You know, if I let me see. Yeah, if I beat up some dude, you know, back in high school, right? Matter of fact, I did beat up some dude in high school, right? And then all of a sudden his son comes up to me and says, hey, you beat up my father in high school. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then he's like, oh, you owe me money because I beat up your son. Now, it's one thing if he was like, you beat up my father in high school, it made him depressed, and now I'm coming here to kick your ass so that I can get... Like, okay, makes a little sense. I'll rough you up too, kid. I don't give a shit, right? But if he's like, now you owe me money because you beat up my father or something, I don't know. Or like, let's say if I let me say this. Let me say something more realistic. I mean, I didn't cheat in high school, but and you know, I'm not saying I cheated like after high school. I'm just saying I didn't cheat. I didn't cheat in high school, but anyway, look. Let's say I cheated on somebody. Somebody else gave me their schoolwork so I could copy it, all that kind of stuff. If I were to later, if my son were to come up and say, "Hey, well, my father was working for free for you," and basically, like, what the fuck? You just get the fuck out of here. Like, get out of here, right? Anyway, but no, I was just playing with the Jamaica thing. I see Kofi trying to say Haitians. I know Haitians are big. Look, Haiti is like my island, man. Period. Like, I mean, I just say my parents are from Jamaica, but I'm African. I'm African first. But like, yeah, Haiti's my island. I big up Haiti all the time. A lot of Jamaicans don't, but you know, not to mention squatter rules. Someone can literally take your land if not protected. You're only owed what you can collect. Exactly. Like, literally, like legit squatter rules where it's like legit. If you leave your house for like 6 months and somebody else was living there for 6 months, it's their house. You know, I know, not really, but like basically you gotta like live with them. You know what I mean? Or you gotta buy them out. Like literally. Nobody gives a shit about your land claims. They came to Africa, whooped our ass, put us on our bottom of ships, enslaved and got rich from our free labor. Now they owe us for whooping our ass. We owe us. That's Brother Bakari. Like, we owe us. If you know what I'm saying, like, what are you fucking talking about? Somebody breaks my jaw in a fight. I mean, sure, if the law allows, I can sue them for, like, repair damages. But if the law does not allow it, then no, I fucking have to pay for my own jaw. That's it. And so you might be like, well, yeah, you're in a system where the law allows. Yeah, the law allows for me to get, reparative, compensation for losing a fight. Sure. But if it don't allow you to get money from slavery, it's not going to do it. You're in their legal system. So either you do something real or you just, they're trying to get our handouts too. Nobody's trying to get your imaginary money. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's coming after your fucking imaginary money. Nobody's coming after your imagination. Keep thinking it. Nobody gives a shit. We're trying to industrialize Africa, and you notice nobody's talking about that. But all right. Learning Curve says, we could economically invade anywhere we want, but we don't want to do group economics. Exactly. Invading North Africa would trigger a jihad. You'd even have Muslim Africans fighting you. It's definitely. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta be realistic and do what you can right now. If you don't even have a country, it's like that dude who's like from Risk or something. Like if you don't even have your shit together, you're not gonna be conquering lands. Period. Kofi says it's a common thing to hear that about Jamaicans. Yeah, I heard that about Jamaicans. Haji says you can only keep. Oh no, Learning Curve says you can only keep what you can protect. That's it. That's real life. I tell you, I heard this story from Alton Maddox Jr. Okay, he was saying that in the South. Now this is like it gave me the lesson. He's like, in the South, there would be sometimes a white guy would walk into a black man's house, send the black man out, and fuck his wife. Okay? And he was like, he said the lesson was, you can't get married under, well, I think he said under white supremacy. I don't know. But he's like, you can't get married in America. Because the reality is if somebody could just walk up and fuck your wife in front of you. See, like, if I mess with somebody's wife, I'm doing it behind their back. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing it behind their back. No, they got to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? Nobody else would know. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it is. Right? I ain't walking up to no motherfucker and doing that. But that's how these motherfucking white folk had it in the South. He was in Atlanta. That's how they had it in Georgia. No, he was in Georgia. That's how they had it in Georgia, where they could Everybody knew it. Hey man, get out your house. I want to spend some time with Bessie Sue. Disrespectful. But it's like, he's like, you can't be married. And I realized to me, I'm like, look, if you cannot protect something, it's not yours. It's not yours. And I'm not to say that, I don't believe that, you could own something even if you're weak. I'm not saying that. But I'm just giving you the reality that you're living in a world where might makes right. You live in a world where you have to constantly think about the protection of your own because something bad could happen to your people. All right? I'm telling you. Cause I think about it, because sometimes I say this stuff and you're like, hey, yeah, blah, blah. Like, if I'm in a quote unquote playground and somebody just snatching kids, I'm going to feel for that. And I'm not going to go to somebody who lost their kid and be like, well, you can't protect them, so you lost. It's not your kid anymore. But the reality is that kid is going to live some other freaking life. That's the reality. I understand the comfort of saying, hey, you lost your kid. And I wouldn't want that to happen to anybody, especially not me. But, I'm saying, like, that's how life is. But you have to go, like, because sometimes I be thinking to myself, look, man, even when you out there, you got to be armed. You got to give your best. You got to give your best chance. Or you got to, have these guns. You know what I'm saying? But you got, like, I'm telling you the truth. I'm just telling you the truth. Like, you can't protect it. That's what it is. And that's the story. And it sounds harsh, and I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. The harsh reality. Make sure you guys check out Harsh Reality. I don't know if he said it was next Monday or tomorrow. In fact, I think it's Brother Bakari's gonna be here later tonight, so make sure you guys check out Brother Bakari too. All right, so anyway, let's see. Let me see what this is. So Kofi says Haiti is 11 million versus Jamaica 3 million. Bit of Medicine says, yeah, Brother Bakari, a lot of the FBA talk actually comes from Claude. Mr. Touchable says, let FBI and ADOS get their reparations, man. Do their thing. I'll go get my reparations, one customer at a time. Yeah, I'm like, ain't nobody worried. And it's like, I think they be like, oh, well, what about segregation and shit? Like, I don't know. Yeah, Oni, it was me talking about that. Oh, yeah, Bit of Medicine said, yeah. I thought, like, I say sometimes people be saying, like Jamaica's a big deal. I don't know, because I was born in Jamaica, but, like, I mean, not born in Jamaica, but, like, I can't, obviously, you hear our sound. I don't sound like no Jamaican. You know what I mean? So, like my family, like, my mom kind of purposely didn't. Like, she was one of those people who was like, no, you're not going to learn patois kind of stuff, Brother Bakari says, we owe ourselves, so we should business together. We should create our own militia to protect ourselves. We should take control of our neighborhood and turn them to community for us, no, not everybody. And, that's what I'm saying. There was, like, recently some shooter in Chicago. But, of course, it was at 3 a.m., so I'm going to give those people a pass. But, of course, you should be watching your own neighborhood at 3 a.m. But still, if it's 3 a.m. and he's shooting up the place in the middle of a park, maybe I could see why he didn't get gunned down immediately. But it's kind of embarrassing, no less, that the police had to pick him up. And see, I say police like that. I usually say police because I'm from New York. But I know Maddox is going to say police, so I'd be like, yeah, that's how I want to say it too. All right, Learning Curve says, like-minded people need to live near one another. You are diluted and fighting a losing battle when you are not physically near one another. Yup. BTE, great to see so many folks from STB here. Peter Messer says, so many people from Shoot the Breeze are here. Brother Bakari says, that's part of the reason they hate Africa. Claude Anderson teaches we didn't come from Africa. We've been here over 20,000 years. Yeah, that's some ridiculous shit. 20,000 years. How the fuck you here? Anyway. Sugar Harry says, agreed. And then Mr. Touchable says, bro, did you send the assistant my email? And he's laughing about it. Or he's laughing about something. All right, let's go back. This motherfucking Chase.
Thank you. Professor Kaba, would you like to add on to that?
Watch Kaba try to, do something. I don't even know, but he's going to try to be both sides. Jesse says Pan-African has been one side of it.
You're on mute, Baba.
I
was thinking of Smalls, but yeah, I guess it's Kaba.
Because I just try to give everybody a chance to be able to say, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I think that we got, as I hear Dr. Leonard Jeffries say frequently, we have to get the paralysis out the analysis. And we have to stop letting people who would wish to divide us.
I hear Dr. Jeffries say all the time, you have to get the paralysis of the analysis.
Just randomly. Just random. Don't add to the context anything. Here's Dr. Jeffries. I studied. I watched the same videos as you guys. You guys should give me money.
Get in between us. As I've said before, I have been through a lot of different experiences in my lifetime with people who have disrespected the experiences that we've had as a people. And I understand that. I'm not talking to them. I am talking to the global Black community that understands who we are as a people and what we have contributed.
So you see right here, like they're like some of these people is like here. They're like the brother problem lies with this biggest spokesman has Tariq Nasheed. FBA is an LLC. Tariq has it trademarked. But
Immigrants, if you want to use that term, did not build America. Foundational Black Americans built America on the land that was stolen by the indigenous people, who themselves are also Black, but will.
What the fuck? Fuck! So Rakeem then sends another $10. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Like you have an opportunity to do something productive, something meaningful. And it's like, the Foundation of Black Americans built America, and so did they stole it from the indigenous, who were also a Foundation of Black Americans. What the fuck are you talking about? And it's like what is this? It's like, what does that do with the price of bread? Like that's a question white folk would ask each other. Be like, yo, okay, you tell me all this shit. What does that have to do with the price of bread? It's like if these white folk were like in 2022, the Vikings discovered America. Okay, we don't even know if that's true. But okay, why are you? We're trying to these white folk are like, we're trying to figure out how to make the processors that much big. In fact, I can't remember where it was. We were on Discord, so make sure you guys go to Discord. Somebody was like, yo, man, China just stole a different secret on battery technology. So how to make the batteries more efficient. That's a real ass problem. China stole this breakthrough information that we the public don't even know about. They were secretly trying to create better uses of trying to find energy or whatever. And the Chinese were like, whoops, and took it. That's a real motherfucking. That's what the Chinese are not like, oh, well, we discovered, we really built Americans' railroads. Nobody fucking cares. Imagine a bunch of Chinese people sitting around, we built the American railroads. The Americans wouldn't have railroads if not for us. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why would you even say that? We're trying to find out about batteries. We're trying to find out about holographic 3D printing, this sort of so forth, raising the economy, all this kind of stuff. And you guys are sitting around. We built this, and the indigenous, they're Black too, and the original queen of England, one of them, what was Charlotte, and she was Black too, and there's this Alexander Dumas in Russia. He was Black too. He had his great grandfather was from Africa, and so all right.
Deal with that at a later time. But the reality is that we have to get the paralysis out of the analysis. And we as a people have to come to understandings, I think. I support anybody Black doing anything for Black people, anywhere. For those who are looking for reparations, as it relates to some type of return back, I respect. And I pray and hope that.
Amen. Clap, clap, clap. Speak the truth, Bible Kaba. Teach, brother. What is he fucking saying? Paralysis analysis. Look at this. Wisdom bar. I'm speaking from first-hand experience, fam. What are you speaking from first-hand experience?
You get what you want. But I'm not about to fight other Africans over the scrap, the crumbs off the European table. I'm not going to allow myself to go head to head with other people of African descent. We deserve it. But you see, I don't want reparations. I want America.
I don't want reparations. I want America. What you want? It's these white people have a saying. You in what army? It's like the whole North Africa thing. You like it's like me. I'm like, yo, man, guys, I want Spain. I want Spain. Does it make any fucking sense? Does it make any sense if I say I want Spain? Right now, me, I'm sitting down here in New York. It makes sense for me to be like, hey, guys, I want Spain. I want England. Me, personally, I'd like a piece of Sri Lanka. You know? Like nobody gives a shit. No, it's like nobody gives a shit. See these white boys had this Berlin conference, right? And they sat down. They were like, you know what? I want this western region of Africa. And you know maybe it was like, let's say, like, they didn't even have the Germans there. They didn't have the Germans there because the Germans were like, you know, oh no, maybe they didn't have I think they didn't have the Russians there. The Russians were like, you know, the Russians were invited, and they got nothing from the table. Because what happened is this: the British were like, hey, you know what? I want this part of Africa. The French were like, yeah, I want this part of Africa. And then the Russians were like, yeah, I would like this part of Africa. And then the British and the French looked at them and said, you know what army? And so now you hear, you know, I don't want reparations. I would actually prefer, give me one America, please. I know, I'm being a little bit goofy. That'll be a little goofy. Disney about to have a freaking lawsuit with me. All right, let's see. Mr. Untouchable says, you know, Jamaicans notorious for code switching, so you may sound Jamaican offline. LOL. Online, you put on your New York accent. Look, that's what I'm saying. I wish, man, but like if I try my patois, you'll know I can't do it. But anyway, let's go. Like, you know, you'd be like I sound worse than Koku, you know, doing my patois. All right, well, Bitmez says, don't forget the ham radio info, please. Mr. Tubman says, they are safe conversations where you don't get no pushback. I feel the frustration. Mr. Tubman says, echo chamber. Yow, LOL, Kofi. I was like, Kofi said yow before. I thought it was like a typo. But so I don't know what yow is. All right, so Haji says, interesting enough, Americans has the most dilapidated and antiquated railroad system of any first world country right now. Yeah, them subways in them Asian countries, it's lit. Yeah, like America, like if you see the New York subway versus what the other people doing, New York subway is like pretty old though. Anyway, Haji Ali says, yo, what's good, my G? Good to see you in the building, to Brother Bakari. KW on 7 says, Booker T. Coleman is selling wolf tickets saying he wants America. Yeah. So Booker T. Coleman is Kaba. This he gonna give you this motherfucking government, yo. That's one thing I wouldn't do. I wouldn't give him government. Mr. Untouchable says he wants the whole pie. Big claim. Now you got to go about the business of how to get it. Yeah, he's speaking out of both sides of his neck. Who are these Europeans he's talking about if he believes we are all the same? Yeah, exactly. And then Meta Medicine says yow equals yo. Yeah, I'm not really hip with the slang. I ain't gonna hold you guys. I'm like hanging out with my kid most of the time.
I want America.
I want America. Give me
Not
now.
the scraps. I want to own the block that the bakery was on that baked the cake. I don't want no crumbs.
And y'all see this motherfucker rubbing his invisible beard? Like, what are you doing? Like, look at this motherfucker. He's actually rubbing his fucking invisible beard. Like, this guy's like, I want the bakery. And he's just rubbing like nothing. Like, what the fuck is this?
Scrap.
Oh.
Crumbs off the European table. I'm not going to allow myself to go head to head with other people of African descent. We deserve it. But you see, I don't want reparations. I want America. I want America. Not
this dude really in deep thought. Listening to this dude rubbing a beard he don't have. You know? What the fuck is this shit? Like, this gotta be comedy, but again, Cash App Love from Bernays Chase. And the money's gonna go up. It's gonna go up.
the scraps. I want to own the block that the bakery was on that baked the cake.
I don't know if you guys.
I don't want no crumbs. And I'm not going to let them throw crumbs out to make us fight over these crumbs like we're a bunch of pigeons in the street. For me, we have to be clear. We've got to do for ourselves. We have to understand what it is that we're facing as a people. But more importantly, we have to understand our children are watching.
We want our land back.
And we have got to conduct ourselves with a sense of integrity, morality, and respect, and be very clear. Because like I say, I'm very clear on definitions. A foundational Black American is a person who can trace their ancestry back to an experience, let's give or take the date 1492, here in the United States of America, which you really got to wait until you get into the 1500s. We have to understand that the great majority of Africans that came to America did not come.
Look at this goofy ass comment. Real. This conversation is distraction and paralyzing. Elders bring a clarity that's refreshing. Like, no. Reciprocation in undestroyed America. I want an undestroyed America. It's fuck. And like, these are the same people that be like, hey, other people don't like us. Yeah, I don't like you. Like, not off of no African American dislike. I just don't know what the fuck you're talking about. We're talking about, like, again, you go to Chinwezu. He's like, yo, industrialize Africa. And he's in Africa. He's like, we got to go about industrialization. You read the edit. And he's like, I don't know how Tanzania said it. But you read him. And he's like, hey, man, we're dealing with some poverty. And we got to, like, turn our schools to be more economically. Like, this is good. What is this? Some dudes sitting in, like he's sitting in the forest, no cap, right? Like, I don't know if he's sitting in the forest or some shit. Nah, let's probably like the background. He decided to put on a forest background for some damn reason. But sitting in the damn forest, not really. He's not really sitting in the forest. But, all right. He's sitting out somewhere. I want America. I want the whole country. And that's what I'm going to focus and tell people that's important. And people are not like, bruh. Other people are like, yes, clarity, refreshing, yes, speak, we want our land back. And it's like, I get it. Maybe he's like part Native American, so it makes a little more sense for him to say that. But, all right.
Straight from Africa, they came from the Caribbean, Central South America. And that if you're going to get a problem with Africans outside of
Cash App Love, $25.
the United States,
So far they cut like $100, $200. I don't know.
you're going to have to get rid of Malcolm. You're going to have to get rid of Marcus Garvey.
And here's the appeal to the, here's the appeal. You're going to have to get rid of Malcolm. You're going to get rid of Marcus Garvey, Kwame Ture. Like, first off, if I were on this line, I wouldn't give a shit.
You're going to have to get rid of so many peoples of African descent that came to America and benefited from what African Americans, foundational Black Americans, American descendants of slaves, whatever you want to call it. I am at the point now in my life that, having been around children, I know our children are watching us. And if I sense that they don't have respect.
Having been around children, I know children. Like, you should know that from the fucking first time you see a child. You're a grown-ass man. What do you mean you're at the point in life that you realize kids are watching you? How the fuck is that? What does that even mean? You're fucking old. And not just that, like, he's been around kids for a long time. Like I said, part of the Freedom Retreat, the UAM had this little event. He actually was one of the teachers, one of the instructors. He, like, built the curriculum for that particular summer camp thing. Summer camp is a good, like, UAM is good, so I'm not hating on UAM. I actually saw some other kids that, like, I was at the playground somewhere, I was at some park, and I saw some kids, like, all in uniform, not uniform, like a shirt with a whatever. I looked up the shirt. They were, like, a part of some summer camp thing. That's a lot of money. That's what I talk about with services. Like, you just have these kids, you watch them for, like, 5 hours in a day, or 8 hours in a day, I don't know. You feed them, and you take them to the park to run around, or you get them games, and you give them sports. You could charge the parent like $100 a day. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't afford that shit. I mean, not to say I couldn't, but I wouldn't. I'd rather spend time with my fucking son than, spend time losing $100 a day. But, like, that's a good hustle, just an FYI. But anyway, but not to say the UAM was not hustling. I'm not gonna say that, right? But what I'm saying is that he built the curriculum. So he's been around kids for jump. So what are you talking about? You're an old ass man. I'm around the age. Like, if I say that, just have my young kid, and I'm like, hey, you know what? You're my young kid, and I realize that you watch everything I do. makes a lot of sense for me to say it. If I say the same thing 40 years from now, or 30 years from now, actually this guy might be like in the 70s. So 30 years from now, 40 years from now, whatever. If I say that, oh, I'm finally at the point in my life where I'm realizing that kids copy me. Like, what the fuck were you doing 40 years ago? Like, what? Like, what? Anyway.
Respect for us as a people. It's because we are presenting ourselves in a way that we are fighting amongst ourselves, and we are destroying the fabric of what brings us together. One love, one unity. We have impacted ourselves throughout the Caribbean. Groups of us escaped enslavement and went to the Caribbean. This is why you see so many brothers and sisters from República Dominicana, the Dominican Republic, with the last name Wilson or Kelly or Williams. Those were African Americans that went there. In the 1700s and the 1800s, Brother Chase has the Seminoles shirt on. There's a history that...
This guy always talks in like smiles randomly. It's mad random. But Seminoles, the Dominican Republic, you know, just trying to whatever.
We have to understand that hasn't been taught to us. And because of that lack of knowledge, we're fighting amongst ourselves. And like the brother or sister that put it up there, not only are our children watching us, but white supremacists are watching us too. And white supremacy is an oxymoron because there ain't nothing supreme about being white. In fact, when you get into science...
Clap, clap, clap. You said it. They're not the clap, clap, clap. Again, when you get into science, and like, what's the science here? What is the science here? What is the science here? Because the science you should be talking about is freaking manufacturing. The engineering. You should be talking about the engineering. No, there's nothing really. White supremacy. Nobody else said white supremacy. Nobody else said it. And he's all, well, white supremacy, but I know you guys want to hear this. I shouldn't do that hand gesture. You know, I was making fun of him, but it looked kind of gay. I'm not going to hold you guys. But, he's all white supremacy. And, what? See, I messed it up. But you get what I'm saying. It's not really white supremacy because nothing's supreme about them. Give me money. Like, we didn't hear that shit a million times. This guy's cracking up like he didn't heard it. Like I heard this a decade ago. You know what I mean? Everybody heard this a decade ago. And he's doing the same damn shit and still like nothing new. That's the thing I would say I like about my own materials. That if y'all peep, like a lot of my material is like you look at an old video or an old communication of mine, you'll see it's the same person. But a lot of it is just different. Like it's very different. You know, one moment I'm doing this, one moment I'm doing this. This is the same thing I heard 10 years ago.
The depreciation.
Okay, in science you talk about dominant gene and recessive gene.
So this is the pseudoscience that I was saying that that lady is famous. Frances Cress Welsing is famous for. The white gene is not recessive all over. Basically, the way how science works, let me tell you this, right? You got a white flower and a red flower. If the white flower and the red flower come together and they make a red flower, then the red is dominant. If they make a white flower, then the white is dominant, right? And the red is recessive. If they make for the red is if the red flower, then red is dominant, whatever. If the flowers come together and they make a pink flower, then neither gene is dominant or recessive. What happens when you take a black person, or you take a well-melanated African and a European, right, is that you get a blend that does not look like the well-melanated African anymore. I mean, occasionally it does and occasionally it doesn't, but realistically speaking, it's going to look like an in-between. Now, it might have a brown complexion, right? And then you might be like, well, I think if it's like a really well-melanated African, you might get a brown complexion, and then you might say to yourself, well, you know, like kind of like a Barack Obama. So Barack Obama's father, well dark. His mother, white. They get together, Barack Obama comes out brown. Now, you could be like, well, because he's brown, therefore, you know, the gene is dominant. But because he's brown and not black, that means the gene is not dominant. You understand? What happens in the real science is that if the child came out looking like his father and nothing like his mother, then you could say the gene is dominant. But what happens with black folk is that they go and they run with this lie that the black gene is dominant, and then they end up with like Nkrumah's children who look like Arabs.
You don't talk about superiority or inferiority. That's a whole nother issue. Peoples who left Africa and had to go through the process of mutation, everything they have, blonde hair, blue eyes.
Now see, blonde hair and blue eyes might be recessive. I mean, I think they are recessive. But like whiteness in and of itself is not recessive. So yeah, you can say the eyes are recessive, the eye genes are recessive, the blonde hair is recessive, but you can't say that white people in and of themselves are recessive.
Is recessive. And if you don't believe me, go to a grade 6.
So that's the trouble. You know, that's the trouble. You basically have something that you can, that's a little bit true, and then you make these broad statements, and people end up rubbing the beards they don't have. They end up rubbing the beards they don't have because they're like, maybe. He's gonna say, go to a grade 6. Now, if you're you're 60 years old. Go to a grade 6 science book. You're 60 fucking years old. You're 70, 80, I don't know. You're an old ass man. You should have contributed more to the field that you're talking about than go to a grade 6 science textbook, and then you're going to see that in grade 6 they were saying that there were certain genes. Yeah, there are certain genes, but that's not the whole it's not the white race.
6 science book, go to about chapter 8 and read the chapter on mutation. We're all the same people in different phases of our presence in the sun.
We're all the same people. Look at this. Cash App love from Wendy, $50. Psh. Psh. All right, let's look at the comments. I've got Yao equals yo, big claim, a lot of big chest buster. I'm gonna try to only go to an hour. I think I stuck around mostly to hear this Chase guy talk. Maybe he's gonna redeem himself. He was a fucking moron the second time too. But anyway, do for yourself plus get government reparations. Right? Bit of Medicine says this is an elite episode of The Enemies Within. Make sure to share, like, and subscribe to the channel. Hopefully, Mr. Tupper says Hiawatha making his engine claim. Right? Brother Bakari says, how have this lie we were already here and are the first people here where black lasted so long? I don't even know. And it's just embarrassing because it's like I said, like Cash App, $50. Cash App. Because see, my thing is that my book is kind of like people think it's pricey. They're not even getting a book. They're not getting anything from this. And it's just, take my money. And you're like, what the fuck? You know? And it's so much of lies. It's like, it's not even like, it's one thing if it's like, you know, oh, here's the scientific principle. Like you're doing it on a thesis. Like I said, Brother Osama Tep, if you were to be like, here, Osama Tep, give me my money, it makes a lot of sense because this guy's legit doing real science, real anthropological studies. Like, yeah, like real linguistics. He's doing real linguistics. That I could understand. Give me my money. This guy's just, if you look at a science textbook, give me your money. Here's my money. Take it. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is why black folk are being taken advantage of. It's because we do shit like this where we reward people for lying to us. We reward people for lying to us. Let me just keep going. So Harsh says, that Dr. Phil Valentine can't see through the prompt, but voice sounds similar. No, that's Kaba Hiawatha. Hiawatha. But Medicine says, nah, that's Kaba Kamin. Easy to make the mistake at Harsh Reality Podcast. But Mr. Untouchable, go back to the government name. That's Booker T. Coleman. That shit is hilarious, man. Y'all catch that Spanish accent? Yeah, out of nowhere, he turned into a bit of medicine. Dominica. What are you talking about? Nobody says that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's Dominica, boy. Dominica. Harsh Reality Podcast says, oh, okay, makes sense. He's pushing FBA with his native things then. Yeah, but he is native, though. You know what I mean? Like, he is. I think he is a Native American. Mr. Untouchable. And I didn't mean boy. I just, you know what I mean. Republica Dominicana. Exactly. What time are you on later, Brother Bakari? He asks. Mr. Benjamin asked what time Brother Bakari on later. Harshiali says, yeah, I heard of you say whitey supremacy in the mirror 3 times that Andrew Jackson shows up in reflection like Candyman. Yeah, I seen that shit. I was scared one time. I was like, white supremacy. And then, all right. Andrew Jackson, that's funny. Mr. Temple says, and Kruma's grandchildren. Yeah. Harshiali says, it's the grifter way. Half truths to legitimize the grift. Yeah, just half truth. Like, oh, yeah, Because, like, yeah, you can say Blue Eyes is recessive. I'm not going to hold you on that. That's proven, right? You got a person with brown eyes. You got another person with blue eyes. Their kids come together. Their kid's going to have blue eyes unless the other person who had the brown eyes had a recessive gene with blue eyes. Then it's a possibility that the kid would have blue eyes. That's it. That's true. But, again, you have Barack Obama, very clear example of an African, dark at that. And then you have, his mother, whatever her name is, right? Whatever, right? Barack Obama's father, Barack Obama's mother, they come together and they have a kid who looks like neither of them. That means that it's not, that black is not dominant. That's what it means. Mr. Tubbs says, only you not making outrageous claims. You got to get magical on these people to get the cash apps. I know, right? I got to be all, and shit, like shit, This is why Barack Obama really, Barack Obama's really an alien, Oh, shit, my cash app just hit. Okay, Barack Obama's an alien. No, I'm joking. Anyway, now I know Dion and Dominica are different, 2 different places. I know. I know that. It's like Dominica's tiny, though, She seemed like one of the people that just say she's from Jamaica.
We must stop fighting amongst ourselves. On all causes. And if you have a fight, then you got to get the hell up out of here because I don't have time to talk to you. I want to talk to the Ghanaian, to the Nigerian. I want to talk to the Puerto Rican. I want to talk to the Portuguese Brazilian who understands their African roots. I want to talk to the brothers and sisters in UK and in Germany and in Holland that recognize that there are ties that bind us together. I ain't got time for these fools out here. And I know that there are people that disrespect African Americans. We deserve everything we can get. The reason why anyone came to America was to benefit from what foundational Black Americans built in America. We built America. Now, we built a house on the land that was.
Look at this. This guy, Shakiti. Yo, Tarina, she's on. I'm out. Right? Fucking loser. Anyway, yeah, we built there was a Canadian dude. He's on Discord. On the Discord. Canadian dude goes up to Canada. Not Canadian. He's not Canadian. He's like Nigerian or something. He's celebrating because he reached Canada. He's laying on the floor like, yes. And my thing is this. Somebody needs to tell him to go and go put his gratitude to the Foundation of Black Canadians. You know what I'm saying? Like the FBC. Somebody ain't gonna tell him. Because apparently that's the thing. These motherfuckers. Mic drop. 100. We're the best. We did everything.
Stolen from the indigenous people. Now, immigrants may have come in and brought some furniture in and furnished the house. But you didn't build this house. And when I go to Jamaica, I pay homage and respect to the elders of Jamaica, realizing that it was they that built the African presence in Jamaica, in Puerto Rico, in Luisa Aldea. It was the Africans that built the Bombay y Plena and the culture. I pay homage to the Africans wherever I go in Holland and in UK.
And see, this sounds good, Like, yeah, you go to Jamaica, you're not like spitting at the black folk. But at the same time, like, who was doing that anyway? If you go to Jamaica, you just go and do whatever the fuck you went to Jamaica for. You know what I mean? Like, when I go to Jamaica, like for me, for instance, my brother go to Jamaica. Now, he's a coon. He goes and lives in the resorts, He's not, I gotta treat all the Jamaicans really well because, so like, no. He just goes and lives the resorts. Because that's what he went for. When I go to Jamaica, I'm like, yo, let me go to Maryland, let me go to Maypen and do what I gotta do in Maypen. You know what I'm saying? That's it. I just go and act like a normal person. I'm not, hey, you're a foundational Jamaican. Now, technically, I wouldn't do that because I'm technically, I technically would still be a foundational Jamaican. I don't know, but like I'm not like nobody does that shit. Nobody's going to no fucking country and going there to grovel at the other people and say, "Oh man, you guys did so amazing. I'm so grateful that you did something." Nobody cares. When you go and travel in real life, you just travel. Now, I'm not saying you go and disrespect anybody, but if you don't like to hang around certain people, then just don't. If you don't like to go in certain neighborhoods, you just don't. Like, if I go to Nigeria, don't plan on going to Nigeria. Anyway, I don't plan on going to Nigeria. But if I go to Nigeria and I hear about these Fulani terrorist shit, I don't give a shit if they built Nigeria. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going around them. And I might just be like, yeah, son, don't go fucking playing around with them because they're actively fucking killing each other. Literally. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know what I'm saying? Like it's like I know this person in, I think it was Detroit or something like that. They're like, I don't go to a certain, like, 8 Mile or something. I don't go to 8 Mile. I'm from 9 Mile or whatever. Like, I'm from 9 block. I don't go to 8 block. Period. Same here in Brooklyn. I don't really, like, I was actually doing stuff in Brownsville, but I'm not really, and like I was walking around at night, but I also understand there's a risk involved when you in somebody else's neighborhood at night. With the disposition of the locals. I understand that. Everywhere you go, if you don't know the disposition of the locals, it's better to it's like low key, like, you know, at night you just, if you don't know, you know, you might just find out. You know what I'm saying? And some people just don't want to find out. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you just avoid it. I don't know. Let me just keep going though.
Built that. And I cannot go to Jamaica and act like I built Jamaican culture. Or that Jamaican people don't deserve what they get. They deserve everything that they get. And
who's going around, like, what person you know is coming to America and be like, you guys didn't build, like, what do you, like, well, you guys don't deserve an African American culture. You know, like, nobody's doing that. Nobody is doing that. You know? Like, nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that. Like, nobody.
When they come to America, I think you deserve what you get. But just understand that what you get, you got because of us. Because when we fought in the 1960s and broke down the civil rights laws, immediately we also broke down the immigration laws. And that is how immigrants came to this country in the 60s, because of our struggle as civil rights, human rights. We broke the laws down that brought people from Korea, that brought people from the Caribbean and Central and South America. I'm not asking you to give me nothing. I'm asking you to understand your history. And we together as a people understanding this, we can chart for our children a future. But if we keep fighting amongst ourselves, don't tell me nothing about the Bloods and Crips, because they're only...
You see my thing? It's like, I'm speechless. I can't agree with anything here. Like, I'm sitting here just like I'm just like flabbergasted. This was a live thing. I come out, I'm just like, I can't agree with anything. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, I'm literally sitting there. Like, it took me like 40 fucking minutes. I thought it was earlier than that. It took me 40 minutes to like just find something to type. Because, you know, part of me is like, I want to type something. You know? But I'm just like sitting here, another Cash App, $50. Remember, Wendy was the last one, right? Another Cash App, $50. So this is like, what did you, like, what? So Mr. Untouchable just gave me some advice. He said, I gotta go Merlin the Magician. He said, I gotta go Merlin the Magician. I moved the chat just a little bit, but there's nowhere for me to put it without you guys, so that you guys can also see the chat. But he's like, you gotta go straight Wizard, Merlin the Magician for that bag. You know? Trick Abby says, this be the problem. There has to be a difference between internal colonialism versus exploitative colonialism. Some black people are stateless and exploited regionally. Some black people have states, yeah, that are controlled by foreign entities, yeah. Mr. Temple says, unless you're a white tourist, if you're a white tourist, you can walk anywhere. Yeah, exactly. Hajjali says, so we created the immigration laws now. That's what I'm saying. Like I was like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, it's like that's what I said about that lineage thing. It's like, if Brother Bakari, because Brother Bakari said his elders, like his parents were actually active in the civil rights and stuff like that. So if Brother Bakari said, hey, look, my family participated in the writing of the immigration law. Okay, I could get why somebody be like, Brother Bakari would come to us and be like, you guys need to do as I say. Or not do as you say, but, you know, give me some props. Give my family some props. But I know damn well the vast majority of us were not sitting up in Congress. Like, I know damn well the vast majority of us were not sitting up in Congress writing no fucking immigration laws. Like maybe there was some sort of, some sort of like some people were involved in the civil rights movement. And my thing is this: a lot of people that were involved in the civil rights movement were also Caribbeans too. You know what I mean? So like one of the leaders was Kwame Ture. Like if Kwame Ture was like if Kwame Ture was telling us one day, I was part of the people that was, expanding the immigration law, and I called up, like Dr. King calls up Kennedy and all that shit. So, like, I could see that. But I know most black, like these black folk, these black folk were not even involved. Like Chase's family was not involved in passing this sort of legislation. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just period. Like Dr. King's family, sure. And that's the thing though. Like when Dr. King's daughter tells something on Twitter, I give her props. I give her respect because she is the daughter of, I'm I'm going to say a good man, but you guys won't say. She's the daughter. Like, he's a good guy. Like Dr. King got results. Okay, Dr. King got results, and like Kwame Ture said, that dude was fearless. He was like, the difference between him and Malcolm was that Malcolm was talking all that good shit from New York, where the police carry around little pistols, right? Whereas Dr. King was talking that shit where police carry around sniper rifles that shoot through trees and shit. You know what I'm saying? My brother said that he saw somebody in the hood here getting chased by a sniper rifle. And that shit did not end for the guy he shot a couple of times, But yeah, he said that you saw a tree come down. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the guy was chasing the dude with a sniper rifle, got the guy in the leg, his leg blew off. And my brother's a little kid just hanging out with his friend. And then like he went over the guy and shot him. And that's what I'm saying. Like a large part is like, people would tell you don't go to that fucking area, that particular building. In fact, Bit of Medicine know where that is. It's like I think it's around Newkirk, like around that area. There's like a particular projects there. It's like they would say don't, like back in the day, definitely not back in the day, don't go around it. That got nothing to do with, don't go around African Americans. It's like legit. Somebody was chased down with a sniper rifle in broad daylight. You know what I mean? like, in broad daylight with kids hanging around. Yes, nobody's going to tell their kids, yeah, go hang out over there. You know what I mean? Like, it's got nothing to do with African Americans. You know what I'm saying? Bit of Medicine says, is it wrong to point out that Italians played a bigger role in immigration? Like, don't do that, man. Come on. All right, Mr. Tuttle says, he's a great man, politics aside, he died for his beliefs. Yeah, Dr. King was... Dr. King, yeah, exactly. Dr. King, it was courageous. That's what they said. He's courageous. I don't agree with his politics, but he was courageous. He, Christian deluded and all that kind of stuff, but he was courageous. Like that dude, yeah. Benjamin says, yeah, I know the area well. Now, back in the day, it's like you wouldn't, like it's not to say that you, like it's like you, if somebody told their kid, like as I'm saying, like the thing is that a lot of the immigrant kids will tell you, my parents said don't go around African American. I don't know if their parents said that per se, or if they did say that, if the kid understood what they were saying. It's not that they are saying don't go around African Americans per se, as much as they're like, don't go to that fucking projects. Or as far as they know, just like, like pretty much. You know what I mean? It's just the same like I was in the playground and little black girl was there, right? And I think she was like in a bathing suit. So it was her babysitter, was kind of like, don't, like, dialogue with that black guy over there. Now, if she gets older and is like, hey, they said, my babysitter would have anti-black sentiments and tell me not to hang around black people, right? That's her misunderstanding and growing up to misunderstand what the message was. The message was, don't fucking go around adults when you're in a bathing suit. You know what I mean? Now, I wasn't, like, the reason why she was in front of me, or the reason why she was, she wanted to, like, play with, basically my son had a bunch of toys. She wanted to play with the toys, and I was like, okay, sure, you can play with the toys, just so my son could have some socialization. But from the lady sitting from afar, it probably just looked like she like, low-key, she was hanging around me too much, but, like, I couldn't, like, tell her, like, I kept telling her, go, you could take the jump rope with, like, I gave her a jump rope. I was like, you could take the jump rope over there, and she's like, no, it's okay. Like, she didn't understand anything. But like, my point is that when she gets older, she might eventually be like, oh, people said that get away from black people and all that kind of stuff. But that's not the real message that was being done. The real message was, don't, because I wanted to tell her the same thing. Don't fucking talk to strangers. Like, legit. You know, like strangers are like I would say the same thing. Is what I'm saying. Mr. Temple says, "You think these elders willing to die for the shit they spewing online?" I don't know if Dr. King wanted to die. If like I don't know if Dr. King wanted to die. It was just risky. This thing is not risky. They're not saying anything. They're just like that's the thing that they understand that they're not saying anything. They're like a lot of these people. If you don't know, they're like on the police payroll. You know what I mean? Like the police, that kind of shit. Or they're on the police. They're on the payroll of somebody who's on the police payroll. Let's put it that way. So they're not saying anything that's revolutionary. They're not saying anything that's supposed to build you anything. They're just talking nonsense. You know what I mean? So it's not like like the thing you can say about what they're saying is that there's no fucking risk from the state. The state is not cracking down on this rhetoric. You know, because like why would the state? And I say the state isn't, but it's just like it has bigger fish to fry. Like we were talking about that at Shoot the Breeze yesterday. You got like this whole socialist organization. You know, you got Gaza, who I don't know if they had arms and guns and shit. They're talking about revolution and taking over America. Like, that's a bigger threat than whatever the fuck this is. You know, I'll give them credit for that. This is like nothing. You know? This is why I said here, I said I'm speechless. I can't agree with anything.
You're doing the same thing they see us do. Fighting amongst ourselves. And everywhere I study our history, going back even to ancient Kush Kemet, even when you go to the Moors.
So you see this. Nobody could verify what he's saying. Even when I study the Kush Kemet, and then you go to the Moors. See, if I had no idea what he was talking about, this is deep. Because this dude just told me, hey, you know, if you go to ancient Africa, and I'm like, wow, he's talking about ancient Africa. Wow, the Moors? I never hear about the Moors. This is amazing. But he didn't say anything.
When you go to the plantations in this American hemisphere, when you go to the civil rights movement, even when you look at sometimes the outgrowth of that continuation, which is the hip hop culture, we fighting amongst ourselves.
The hip hop culture. How do you go from ancient Kush and Kemet to the Moors to hip hop? You see, like it's like this is exactly what I said that the Old Testament, the Jewish story is about. Where they just put themselves inside of the history. Like they found a history and they just weave it together and say, oh yeah, I'm a part of that too. And it's like, it's not to say that black folk are not a part of it, because we are, but hip hop? Like the movement from New York? Yeah. I got like the best, like I got Jamaica in the background, and then I got New York? Like what? All right. Some of y'all gonna be like, why are you gonna claim New York for hip hop? You know what I mean? Like shit. If y'all heard Queens, no, not Queensbridge, South Bronx, we won it. We won it. Bronx won it. If I was only from Bronx, that would have been it. Jamaican, Bronx, Brooklyn's cool though. You know what I'm saying? But like Bronx, I'd be like, yo, man, we made hip hop. You already know. What was it? Manhattan keeps on taking it. Brooklyn keeps on making it. Bronx keeps creating it. And Queens keeps on faking it.
That's why the first day of Kwanzaa is unity. Because without unity, them other 6 days don't mean a thing. Because without unity, you cannot have Kujichagulia. You cannot determine for yourself if you don't have unity. Because how you going to do that when you don't know who you are?
The first day of Kwanzaa is...
You're not going to have collective work and responsibility. How are you going to work together when you don't have unity?
I know Kwanzaa,
You're
guys.
not going to have cooperative economics. Why are you going to support each other financially?
These are the
you
things
ain't
in
going to have
Kwanzaa.
no purpose. You ain't going to understand creativity. And you certainly ain't going to have no faith. Unity is the first step in what we have to do, and show our children.
This is a great panel.
That we can disagree without being disagreeable. And we can have unity without necessarily agreeing with each other. I work with people who can't stand me. And I can't stand them.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. The issue is our people. And we've worked together. And we've accomplished our goals. And I'd like to tell you that.
So look, I gotta give this guy props. See, I'm not. That's why I don't hate on this dude, because he put up my comment where I'm like, look, wait a second. We're aware the FBA is tweeting the sheet grift, right? This is mind-boggling. And now watch this dude gonna switch up the whole narrative. He's gonna be all, oh well, yeah, it's kind of problematic that FBA. Like he's just what? We're against them now? Oh, okay.
Sort of kind of looked at each other differently. after we worked together. But no, they still couldn't stand me, and I didn't care for them. But the point wasn't how I felt. The point was the issue for our people, emancipation and liberation. And we got to stop fighting amongst ourselves. But we have to respect ourselves.
Look at this. So somebody says, look, so somebody saw my comment. They're like, I thought it was clear that it was, but we are seeing that people are sold on it. And then Sidney Jones sends $50, peace and love, you know? But like, yeah, like that's the thing. It's like, one, like these quote unquote, you know, these people looking for reparations got deep pockets. You know what I'm saying? They got deep pockets if they paying for this. Shit, boy. But two, yeah, like, I don't even know what's fucking going on. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Professor Smalls, would you like to add on to that?
I'm here scratching my head about what I could add to that. You know, if you look at some of my tapes from 20, 30 years ago, I was using the term formerly enslaved Africans in America.
I was on the FBA before everybody else. Why am I not rich?
To do exactly what foundational Black Americans is trying to do, is find a way to define our ethnicity. Ethnicity now separate from what we call race. Okay, if I have brothers who are Yoruba, but in the modern nation state they're also Nigerian, and in the world of race they're also African. See no contradiction in that. And so the Africans in the United States of America, and that's who we're talking about when we talk about Foundation African American. And me, and I think Kaba also, I have lineage before the slave ship. You know, I'm from the Chikora Nation, and they were as brown as I am today.
I'm from the Chikora Nation, and they're as brown as I am. Just like Kaba, we're both actually Native Americans.
And it's like, look, I get it. Like I get, especially like Kaba. Like when I first saw Kaba, I was like, "Who is this? like, what's going on? Oh, what's the setup?" I thought there was no black. I thought there was nobody else but us allowed. So I'm not even holding it. This person asked me, "What's the problem?" That shit.
I used to clean the mounds and the grave of my ancestors as a child. I can no longer go there now because the state have taken over our cemetery. You know, but that's cool.
The gods are building.
I talk about my native identity because most people saw it in the early days as a denouncing of the African aspect of your identity. So I just stayed away from that.
But stayed away from it.
What Baba Kaba explained in his earlier conversation, that Dr. Clark explained in a very joking, historical way.
And I want to make this clear, though. It's not, like, limited to African Americans, this whole I'm Native American. Like, I legit had a cousin who was, like, Jamaican, as far as I know. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure she's, like, 100% Jamaican. And, yeah, she was like, she's a Native American. She's like, look at my hair. And, like, it dawned on me that she didn't, like, the reason why you see my hair growing out, it dawned on me that we didn't even know what our hair looked like because of how much it was been processed throughout our lives. You know, either like you see all these dudes is like bald more or less, except for this kid. Like a lot of us like cut off our hair, like we cut our hair down, and so we don't even know what our hair looks like. And so she was getting her hair processed, and so she's like 13 years old talking about, see how my hair is straight? I'm like partly Native American, and it's like, no, your hair's straight because you straighten it. You know? But I didn't even know that personally. So, like, at the time, I was like, oh, okay, well. So, it's like, it's not even like I would never use that against African Americans in particular because it's like everybody got this dumbass view about, like, how race works and how hair works, particularly back in the old days. Now we kind of all embrace natural hair, but, you know, it is what it is.
That once we got us act together, we went and peopled the whole world. And so there's no surprise that we were in North America. We were everything else in the world, including Europe, Siberia. Okay, so what is the mystery that I have, that I come from a people in South Carolina?
Oh, sorry, let me read the comments quickly, because they're running away. Let's see, nobody wants to die. Kofi says, Mr. Tuttle says, name dropping again. Come on, give us another Spanish country in that Latino accent to memorize these dudes. Laugh out loud. Kofi says, I doubt they read enough to make better references. Yeah, exactly. Like, they talking about the same shit they talked about 30 years ago. Learning Curve says, our history has been studied. We need to trust our thinkers, follow their plans, and stop listening to them. These guys are just wasting time putting black people in a mental fog with their half-truths. They're collecting money. That's what they're doing. They're collecting money. That's what they're doing. This is their job. This is their JOB. This is their just over broke. Mr. Tuttle says 30 years ago he was on the FBA when Tariq just pulled this out of his ass like 4 years ago. Yeah, nah, there's videos of him talking about. So the thing is, everybody was talking about that shit. Like everybody was talking about the difference between, like, even Malcolm was saying that. You know, Malcolm was like, hey, if you go to one of them, you know, them segregated, like, you know, what do they call it? You know, like when you wanted to go eat at some diner, but they wouldn't let black folk eat at the diner. But if you went with a turban in your head, you could eat there. You know what I'm saying? And Asada has that story, same story inside of her autobiography where she could, like, because she was black, she couldn't play on the playground, right? And of course she wasn't even like dark, she was just black. This lady stay on. All right. Anyway, so yeah. So basically, somebody's asking me for money. Anyway, but it's like whatever. What was I gonna say? Yeah. Sada Shakur. She's saying that her mother then went there, spoke Spanish, said she was a Spanish diplomat, kind of thing. So like a lot of discrimination could have been like based off of the sub-national status of African Americans. You know what I mean? In the sense that, like, realistically, if you're a population in a nation, you're going to be treated worse than if you are a tourist. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like how if some dudes come from Germany or something, like some tourists come from Germany, you're not going to really treat them like they white Americans per se. You know? Like, if you have some sort of historical background, like some sort of historical knowledge, you might be like, fuck these Germans or whatever. But like realistically, you know, like your beef would not be with the Germans per se. You know, you know, if you like if you don't like European Americans, and like that's kind of like what Dessalines was running into too, where he was like, I realistically don't like the French. You know what I mean? Like I don't really got no qualm with the Polish or something. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's like really what people observed. But like, there's a really good video of this one woman. She looked just like, well, she looked like a good looking version of a decent look, a better looking version of Yvette Carnell. And she was like, I don't care about anybody but like black Americans who were like enslaved, you know, like basically black Americans kind of thing. Can't remember her name, but like I put up the video and I was like, is this Yvette Carnell? And Yvette Carnell was like, is that me? But yeah, it's like an old, like people always say the same thing. It's like, it's a repeat. So he's just trying to claim it. I don't blame him for that. Mr. Tuttle says, we both engines. Come on, Professor, right? Trigger Happy says, he probably claiming the 2% he has if we being real. This motherfucker ain't got like shit. Learning Curse says, how did the state take away the burial grounds? Negroes, y'all sold it. Fuck out of here, right? Shit. Trigger Happy says, yeah, definitely not limited to just African Americans. Lots of black Latinos claim indigenous. Yeah. Mr. Central says Siberia, LOL, magical shit. Yeah. Trigger Happy says, if we are being real honest, Ivan Van Sertima has done more damage than benefit. Its first-hand sources isn't reliable. Ivan Van Sertima went back, though. I mean, Ivan Van Sertima already looked like he could have been whatever, but he went back and he was like, why the fuck y'all losing my book like this? I never said this shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'll give him his props for that. But nobody really follows. It's like sometimes you put a theory out, people run with it. Like, he actually, like, if you read his book, he doesn't say that shit. And on top of that, he wrote a secondary, like he wrote a follow-up essay or follow-up book or something where he's like, stop using my book like that. So I'll give him props for that. House Reality says, it's interesting how these types always talk in culture, but literally follow zero cultural or spiritual customs of natives. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Nah, I'm telling you though, man, like I tell you, like, because I tell you, I got this good African-American elder. She was telling me the same shit about her being part indigenous. She was like, hey, you want to come to me to the powwow? I'm like, no, I'm not going to go to a fucking powwow. She's like, oh, well, you know, I'm Native American partially. I'm like, I don't believe that. She like put feathers in her hair. And like one time we were at the museum, you know, I was weird like that. You know, she was old, like 70 years old. And I'm like inviting her to this museum and whatnot. But anyway, so we're in the museum and she there. And I mean, it was not like, you know, romantic. This is my elder, right? And she's like, you know, bowing in front of the Native American statue, and it was all shaking it like, I'm Native American, guys. And then you looking black as death. You know, they're talking to me and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, yeah, you Native American. I got you. You're a good sister, though, man. I tell you, she's a good sister. Anyway, learning curve facts. Mr. Tuttle says, harsh if the good professor comes online next time in full engine costume, feathers, and he'll all probably make 50,000 one episode. Shit. Yeah, Ivan follows up and said not to say that. Yeah, gotta sell the magic, you know? Shit, I might as well start doing that. Y'all know I'm Native American?
Buried themselves in mounds and not graves, and decorated with all kinds of items out of their home and their culture. And I knew that from the time I was a baby, and I cleaned those sacred places every year with my grandmother and grandfather. But I also have people like my great-grandma Hope, who came from Sierra Leone on the slave ship, and my Pat Joe, who came from Rwanda, Uganda, on a slave ship at 2 years old. I am all of those people. And that made me up this cultural, ethnic response to European dominance that we're calling the African American or foundational Black American. As long I'm with Brother Kaba. All things have parts. My body is made up of billions of cells, right? The cell in my finger do not confuse their job with the cell in my heart. Yet if you put them under a microscope, they both look the same. But they understand their role. And because they understand their role in the function, they also understand their relationship that creates a unity that makes me, the body, function. Like the universe, that's a law, the cause and effect of the universe. Those laws are constant in all that African ancestors have taught us. I think foundational Black Americans have a right.
Yo, what is what is Bitter Medicine's problem? He says man smashing 70-year-olds. Like, gosh darn it, man. Like, whoa. Pause, my guy. Like, pause, man. All right. But the title says, go straight, Miss Cleo. You know, call me now, you know. Like, pause, my guy. Come on. Dragari Plus says, yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of people who read it exaggerated. But even his claims of the Olmecs being assisted by Africans is questionable. Like, I don't know, you know. Brother Carr says, we have serious mental illness. He says, or the source of Columbus finding African tools among Native Americans. He actually found it on Cape Verde. Like I said, I don't know. Like, again, earlier history isn't so on and so forth. The big thing I would say is that the vast majority of African Americans and Jamaicans and Dominicans, I guess, I don't know, all that kind of stuff, the vast majority of us came from Africa. I'm not going to say that there was no human mixture of the earlier population. I'm not going to say that there was no, you know, darker people among the human population, or there was no, like, there was not a single African person there. What I'm going to say is that, like, the vast majority of our DNA comprises of the people who were stolen, and not necessarily people who were already here. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I can't say with 100% certainty, because, like, the thing is that, you know, like, you got when we ruled, and the brother will tell you that there's this queen in Nigeria who has roads, paved roads that are paved with corn. You know what I mean? And so, like, where do they get this corn from? If corn is indigenous to America. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, there's, like, earlier, like, people would say that there's, like, there's a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, I don't know if it's real anymore, but they would claim that there's, like, cocaine in, like, they find cocaine in, like, the pyramids or something like that, right? And it's like, how the fuck do you get cocaine if cocaine is, again, indigenous to America, right? So it's like, I'm not saying that there was never any contact between Africa and so on and so forth. And I do think that the path that they take might have been a known pathway between Africa and America. But again, like, whether or not that constitutes the full gamut, you know, like whether that constitutes a significant portion of African American ancestry or of anybody else's ancestry, the African diaspora's ancestry, like, that's not a thing. You know what I mean? That's not a thing. It wasn't, because they legit killed off the natives. Learning Curve says, we pay big money for entertainment. It's sad. Where am I at? Oh, it's sad that all the history is true and you have to Puck the one that will preserve you. Bitter Medicine says, notice the young fella dipped. No, he's still here. He just, I don't know what he did, but he did something. Trigger Happy says, I think we just have to accept the fact that the migration to the Americas was much more of an isolated matter than we realized. Yeah. The most I can say is that maybe Melanesians traveled to the Americas along with Polynesians. Mission Tobe says, you 80 to 90% African, but want to focus on the 2 to 3% Indian. Focus on your strengths, man. Yeah, exactly. Brother Bakari says, tell these internet engines to go to the reservation and get some of that casino money. Yeah, you wish. Lenny Kerr says, I have similar stories to James Smalls in my family. What white women are WW are everything, but until we accept our African identity, we will continue to make poor black slaves. Yeah, a lot of black folk have their stories, but like when they do the DNA test, it don't show up in the DNA test. You know, Harsh Reality Podcast says Seminoles just cut $1 billion deal with Florida. Why young buddy with the Seminole shirt sitting there should be yacht shopping? Yeah, shit. Trigger Happy. Fair, I understand and agree. Even if there was a black population, we probably aren't related to them DNA wise. Exactly. Yeah, Brother McCarthy says the Coke story is false. Yeah, I think the Coke story is like, I think white people went there and planted Coke or something like that. So I'm not like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know anymore. Like back in the day when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's pretty impressive. But like in retrospect, I think I came across something that was like, it's probably fake. You know. W. Wright says some of these so-called serious scholars really push the pseudo history, and that's the problem. Like I say, like a lot of us were exposed to these fake stories. You know, because like Brother Bakari heard about it. You know, so that means that somebody was pushing this fake narrative, and it's like, and it probably was like white folk pushing it, but it's still like we in trouble. You know, we in trouble. I'm trying to wrap this up though. I wanted to go back to hear this little boy talk again, but I don't know.
To define their cultural, ethnic realities in the same way the Yoruba does and the Akan does and the Dogon does and the Zulu does and so forth. That's not a contradiction. That is actually, that makes sense because you've had a set of historical experiences as a group that nobody else in the world has had. And it has produced a response to your environment that nobody else in the world can really realize in the way you can realize it.
This is black power.
And that
black
environment
supremacy
has an onus to you when it's political and economic. And that's when we come
Detroit
to
Morehouse,
reparations.
$50.
But when any of those questions interfere with the unity of the body, you've committed suicide. You've killed yourself. You've killed yourself. And so, Dr. Nobles, I love the term.
Dr. Nobles.
I kind of modified his term a little bit, but he said history erases the mystery and allow you to work your black magic.
History erases the mystery and allows you to work your black magic. I would never. I not say, look, like, why is that a thing? Why are you're a quote unquote elder? Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up though. Quote unquote elder, and he's doing that. Look, guys, I don't want to take up all your time. I realize I'm distracting it too much. Oh, look at this. Somebody says, very interested to see Kaba and Baba Smalls co-sign the cash grab acronym. So there are some people pushing back on it, but it doesn't matter. You know, the reality is this. If you can do a presentation and you collecting, so far it's been 50 minutes and you collect $400, let's say, right? You're going to come back on and you're going to say the same shit. You did the right thing. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's like what Mr. Untouchable said about, it's cream. It's cream. Cash rules everything around me. You know what I mean? Like, this is market. This is market testing. You know, because if I were there and I was like, yeah, you know what? Nah, this shit ain't real. You ain't getting no damn reparations. You ain't this and so forth. You ain't writing no damn laws. All that kind of shit. I say all that. Look, reality is this. If I were doing that on this, even on this platform, like I do it on my platform, obviously the Cash App not being hit up. But I do it on their platform. And I do that, like, Cash App's not being hit up. They will lose subscribers. They would say, their subscribers would be like, how dare you put those people up? I used to give to this. I used to support this channel, and now I'm not going to support it anymore. They wouldn't invite me back out. Nobody would invite me. For telling the truth. But see, if I did, if I'm like, hey, look, I'm a Jamaican, but I believe that African Americans are the best population on the planet. Everybody owes their culture to black Americans. So maybe, it'd be tough for me to do it, but maybe, I'll be like, when I went to Jamaica the other day, I tell you this, man, they thought I was an African American and they said, you're a freaking god. You're a god. And I was like, hey, man, I'm just a Jamaican like you guys. And they were like, oh, shit, man, I thought you were a god. Sorry. I wouldn't do that. I'm thinking about it, but I wouldn't do that. But like, it is what it is. So look, I'm just gonna read the last comments. I'm gonna remind you guys, I got a book.
on sale. Well, not on sale. It's for sale. You guys go check it out. I don't want to take up all you guys' time, but you guys can watch it on your own. You could cry like I did. And all that shit. Let's see something. I'm gonna finish reading the comments while I have my book up on screen. So Trigger Happy Plus says, yeah, it's like this type of scholarship. Yeah, it's like this type of scholarship, although not the fault of the scholar, gives fuel to fringe groups. One topic that annoys me is when either Hebrew Israelites, Christians, Muslims, or socialists claim that the Middle East is Northeast Africa and these religions are Africans. Yeah, it's just stupid. Learning Curve says, and a lot of people do that. I got this Yoruba book where it's just like, you look at the origin, look at this, blah, blah, blah. It's just... Learning Curve says, these Europeans are masters of confusion. They get the adults out of the way and miseducate the children. Until we decide to fund our propaganda, we will continue on this fruitless path, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, one of the issues that you're always going to run into, I think Erzuli says it pretty well, because I don't know why Erzuli, he's Haitian and he like takes up this same FBA nonsense, right? But one of the things that you're going to run into is Erzuli. So it's something like, if the white man is lying to you about everything, then why do you believe him about anything, right? And that's what it is. It's like, yeah, if the white man is lying to you so much, then maybe he's lying to you about you not being so on and so forth. So I'll just leave it at that. You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, we have to get into a position to educate our own people. Learning Curve goes, these Mr. Tuttle says he's telling them that they are special. If it makes them feel good, hey, go for it. Nah, I'm not doing that shit. Trigger Happy says, one prominent scholar I want to read to see his perspective is Ali Mazrui. Apparently he makes the argument that the region is part of Africa. What region? The north of Africa? It's rather frustrating because it just holds us back when it comes to our historical consciousness. I even saw some dude on Twitter say Palestine is connected to Africa. This is how far they take it. Well, look, Palestine technically, if you look at the map, like Africa is not Africa, Europe, and Asia are connected. You know what I mean? I think you might see the Suez Canal and you might be like, oh, that separates the land masses. I don't particularly know, but it looks like realistically they are one landmass, it really is one big landmass. So that's a thing. And not just that, I think between Europe and the shortest distance between Europe and Africa is like a very, very small distance. Like you could swim it in a day. I want to say 500 miles, but I don't think it's 500 miles. No, not 500 miles, like 5 miles maybe. Like fucking Olympic swimmer or something. You swim 500 miles in a day. But yeah. It's like a really small, between, I don't know what countries, maybe Spain and something, but it's a really small thing. But yeah, I mean, technically they, the thing is that in the ancient world, they did regard Africa as Ethiopia or Western Ethiopia. And then India and shit as Eastern Ethiopia. So maybe possibly this right here, this book right here, Wonderful Ethiopians of the Ancient Kushite Empire. This is she doesn't really cite too many stuff, which is probably the problem. But this is pretty accurate history in terms of the extent of what was considered the Kushite Empire, right? So the Kushites would be the people who colonized Egypt. Egypt is their first colony, but then they also kind of set up colonies on other parts of the world. And so that's partly where you might get that. Now, of course, again, who knows? These days, I don't really say this stuff, so I don't really go back and verify it per se. But this is the historical narrative that most people kind of figure that there were separate populations in these lands, and that there was actually another population that went there and set up colonies, but then later on those colonies were overran by the indigenous people, and that's why they have what they have. But yeah, it's a complicated story. So it's not completely out of bounds. It's just whatever. Mr. Untouchable says LOL, and Kofi says if was a Haitian that made the Francis Welsing tweet as well. Yeah. Oh, the Francis Chris Weldon tweet. That was ridiculous. Midnight says, I agree with the Erzuli thing. Yeah, Erzuli's whatever. Yeah, Bobby Rice says Spain and Morocco, the Strait of Gibraltar is only about 5 miles. Yeah, it's like realistically, like a lot of these landmasses are really close. Like it actually is connected to Palestine. Like Africa is connected to Palestine, and so like realistically, there's no real border there. There's no like wall. Like we have modern borders now, and we kind of recognize that the black population is focused on this continent of Africa, but like realistically, there's nothing separating. You know, like you could swim 5 miles. You know what I mean? So it just like you could swim that. You know, I mean, if you know how to swim. Like if you don't know how to swim, then you fuck. But all right, Kobe says Ethiopia was used to refer to black people in the Bible. That's why Rastas were pro them at one point. Yeah, exactly. Like Ethiopia. So yeah, and like if you look at the Melanesian people, I showed a picture of them before, but like they like I think they actually have the 4C hair. You know, like some of them actually have the 4C hair, but we kind of see most of the people without the 4C here, but I think a lot of them like do have the 4C here, you know? So it's just like, I would recommend, you know, like I said, read Remy Rule, read Wonderful Ethiopians, read the other history book I was telling you guys about. I got a video of me telling you guys what books to read. But like, yeah, like I would review that. There's also this book, Ancient Future. That guy goes in on the First World War, you know, India versus whatever, Indus Valley Civilization take over and all that stuff. So the Aryans invade Indus Valley Civilization, and that's where you got the Indians from, all that kind of stuff. But it is what it is. Anyway, that's pretty much it. That's it. That's the podcast. You guys go check out the Book of Power if you have the chance. But other than that, you know, I mean, you saw how these other people were collecting $50. They're not even giving you a book. They're just giving you a bunch of lies. So make sure you guys take that into consideration. But other than that, you know, that's all I got to say. Thanks for everybody for joining me. You could guys check out the video on your own. I sent the link in the description. I'll send the link again, I guess. Let me see. Hopefully it's the last YouTube link I had. You guys could check it out. You could cry. The boy's going to come back on and say a bunch of dumb shit. And then Kaba is going to have a moment. No, James Small is going to have a moment where he's like, I want you to be calm and disciplined. And then people are like, oh, this is the brotherhood we need. And you're just like, what the fuck is going on? It's stupid, but it is what it is. Trigger Happy says, what was the name on the Indus Valley Civilization in the First World War? I need the name in particular. Ancient Future. Let me see. Do I have it right here? Nah, I probably have to look around my house for that. But Ancient Future. It's actually a pretty good book. I liked it. So check out that book. Like, he really goes in on the Aryan stuff. Now, some people are going to tell you that the British made up the Aryan stuff. So it's complicated. You know what I mean? Like a lot of everything is really complicated. So it's just really tough to know what. But at the end of the day, I want to remind everybody, focus on industrialization. Just focus on the future. Like what happened in the past is important, and you know it is important. But like focus on the future. Make sure you have a future orient, because what we just heard from those other guys was like nothing. It was nothing. Not only was it all wrong, but it was just nothing. They could have very easily said, hey, we can get together, build factories, so on and so forth, so on and so forth. But instead, it was nothing. Like Bobby Wright says, Kaba coming in is a fraud. Like, I'm not, you know, I didn't say it, you know what I mean? But, like, really, I'm not partial to James. I play small, ugh. But, you know, Kaba, ugh, you know, whatever. But anyway, we don't know what time Bakari is on, but we're going to just make sure you guys subscribe to Bakari's channel. Hit the notification bell. Make sure that it's for everything, like for all instead of personalized. Then you probably get the notification and all that kind of stuff. Kofi says, good stream. Thank you. Bit Medicine says, great episode. Thank you. And other than that, Shem Hotep family, Anku Jas, Neb Neb, Amen, Ma'at, Dua Netcher.